Far so good.
Okay, welcome everybody. Here we are. Happy Tuesday to everyone. Okay, if we can go ahead and get rolling.
So, Mr. Mayor, members of council, at this time, as you know, the General Assembly has kicked off their session, and Brett McKenzie will join us from Richmond to give City Council an update on pressing matters regarding the General Assembly and to seek direction on any items you want us to oppose, abstain from, or support. Go ahead, Brent.
Hey, Brent.
Good afternoon. Hi, Mr. Mayor, members of council. Thanks for the opportunity again this afternoon. Andrew, there we go. Thank you. So as Patrick mentioned, today we're going to provide a quick update on the status of our legislative agenda items, some legislation of interest that has had some movement. Budget amendments have been posted, and so we're going to highlight some of those for you. And then we got a couple of bills that we would like your support with. So our legislative agenda items, you saw most of this in my update on Friday, but just to highlight these for you, SB 972 is our Good Friday First Responders Fund. That reported out of the General Laws and Technology Committee unanimously and was sent to the Finance and Appropriations Committee. That's really where the rubber meets the road, as they say, whether the legislation will receive funding or not. So that'll be the big decision point on this legislation. We're excited about the movement on that so far. HB 1925, dealing with ABC store larceny, is scheduled to be heard this afternoon in committee. There have been some side conversations going on with ABC, so we'll see where that legislation goes, but we're pretty excited about the direction this is taking, whether the legislation is successful or not. We're optimistic that there will be a positive outcome for us on this one. HB 1690, our eminent domain legislation, passed out of the Courts of Justice Committee on a 22-1 vote and will be up for a full vote on the House floor this week. Should be on for second read tomorrow and third read for final passage the day after that. So that one's in good shape as well. Unfortunately, our legislation that came from the RAC on the obstruction of right-of-way failed to pass out of subcommittee again this year on a 5-3 vote. Delegate Tata did a great job of defending the legislation, but we unfortunately were not successful there. Similar to the ABC legislation, there have been a lot of side conversations about our short-term rental delisting legislation. Unlike that one, this one is kind of headed in the wrong direction. There are a lot of kind of mechanical problems with the legislation about how the fines would be initiated and collected, and we just haven't found a resolution to that yet. And so I don't think that this legislation is going to it's not really ready for a vote this year, but we'll continue to work on that and see where we can get it. So some legislation of interest. Again, you saw some of this stuff in my Friday update, but just want to make sure we're highlighting this for y'all. Amongst this legislation here, the charter amendment proposed by Delegate Kelly Converse Fowler got out of subcommittee on a 5-3 vote and should be heard in full committee this Friday. That 5-3 vote was a partisan vote, and as you know, it takes a supermajority for this legislation to pass the full House. So we'll see where that ends up. There were two pieces of legislation that would have eroded our ability to control our own land use decisions, the SB 839 and SB 975. Both of those were defeated in committee yesterday. There were a couple of newspaper articles about that y'all may have seen, but they were really interesting discussions about the state's role in affordable housing and how to prompt localities to maybe try to get more housing built. So I think there will be a lot more conversations about those coming up in the future. HB 1868 from Delegate Fagans. This is legislation that would clarify that the spouse of a member of the armed forces who died in the line of duty and died by suicide would be eligible for the real property tax exemption. It's not exactly clear in the Virginia Code today, and so Delegate Fagans is trying to get that clarified. As I mentioned, budget requests were posted this week. I want to highlight some of these for you. A few of them that are included in our legislative agenda. There's a couple of workforce development items here. Delegate Bloxham and Senator Rouse have requested $500,000 for the Hampton Roads Workforce Council to launch a healthcare talent pipeline program. And Delegate Fagans has requested $1 million to go to the Department of Energy to establish offshore wind industry workforce program. These are obviously workforce programs that would benefit the Hampton Roads region of Virginia Beach. Senator DeSteffe put in the budget amendment for the Virginia Aquarium, and Delegate Bulova has an important budget amendment for $50 million for the Stormwater Local Assistance Fund. Some additional budget items coming from our delegation. Again, I won't highlight all of these for you, but just so that you're aware, I know you have the written materials there, but Delegate Askew and Senator Rouse have put in the $500,000 to get our Good Friday grant program funded. As I mentioned earlier, the legislation is moving positively, but the funding is really what decides if it becomes a reality or not. Senator DeSteffe has put in 3 budget amendments for both Virginia Beach and for the Eastern Shore. He did this for both the regions he represents. $10 million for stormwater, $1 million for bikes and trails, and $5 million for IT technology upgrades. Delegate Askew and Delegate Fagans have these interesting budget amendments for trying to upgrade some basketball courts and some programming for youth in their districts. $75,000. This one would go over towards, it's supposed to be towards like the Level Green area. I'm not sure if this description that is accurate, this College Day Park, but that's what showed up in the budget amendment. And then Delegate Fagans asked for $200,000 for multi-purpose sports courts, basketball, volleyball, and pickleball for residents at Samaritan House. What else to highlight here? Delegate Knight put in a budget amendment for almost $19 million for Pungo Ferry Road. And I'll point out the last one that's on this list. This one doesn't impact us, but it's a great example of where the city will likely be in a couple years with our CSRM project once the study is done and requesting funding from the state. Norfolk has requested $50 million this year. Last year they requested 75 and got 25. So we'll see how successful they are this year, and hopefully it goes well. You'll remember from my update last week, there are multiple pieces of legislation that will create a couple of studies to see how the state can better support local governments during these CSRM projects. So we're optimistic that all of this is heading in a good direction. A couple of pieces of legislation that we're hoping to get your authority to support. Back again this week for seeking support for the Faith and Housing Bill. I provided the information that was requested in my update on Friday. Hopefully you all received that. But just as a quick summary, this legislation, basically what it does is it requires localities to include in their comprehensive plan some strategies for how to encourage utilizing faith organizations to create affordable housing. It offers some examples of some things that localities can do, but it doesn't prescribe anything that they have to do. So some of the things that they recommend are, and I got some notes here I'm going to read off of, increases in residential density on real estate owned by religious organizations, streamlined or administrative approval processes, designating a staff person to assist faith communities, things like that. And then it goes on to say that the locality may adopt, it doesn't say that it has to adopt an ordinance that could help with these same sort of things, creating an overlay district, finding ways to reducing fees for religious organizations that are going to build affordable housing, expediting the review process through the zoning commission, things like that. Again, these are things that they're recommending, not that they're prescribing. And so the local government would be free to kind of come up with the incentives that they wanted to try to utilize. The second bill here is a recommendation from our budget and management department. This bill, HB 2029, would provide some like a framework for trying to protect our elderly and disabled individual property tax program, would allow for anybody who's trying to get into the program to still be required to pay any back taxes, but would also give us some authority to work with them on that by creating installment programs or trying to settle for maybe less than they owe as they move into the program. So it really tries to give our folks a little bit more leeway in working with folks who are trying to get into this program. And then I have 3 bills here that we're asking for your authority to oppose. The first 2 are recommendations from our planning department. SB 974 tries to remove the planning commission and governing bodies when they're seeking the authority to review plats and plans, and then they assign it to like an outside qualified person. Really, it's just what we've seen over and over again, is them trying to reduce local authority in some of our land use decisions. Likewise with HB 2331, this one would allow somebody who's a licensed professional but not a staff member to be able to approve plans and supporting calculations with certain qualifications in the Chesapeake Bay Preservation Area, obviously, which we're part of that. And then the last one here is a recommendation from our EMS folks, and that there's a proposal to create, I think it's 11 different regional EMS councils, and they would divert some of the funding that the localities receive today to those councils. This would just, erode the limited amount of funding that we already receive from the state. And so we would like to oppose this legislation to make sure that we keep those tax dollars coming to Virginia Beach. So that's everything that I have for this week.
Okay, any questions at all? Hey, Amelia.
Well, thank you so much, Brent. Can you go back to the housing related to the religious? Because I saw that at the VML, there are groups looking into working with that to recommend for support. The one that says with the religious and affordable housing.
Yes, ma'am. And you're right. I mean, I think a lot of the local governments are excited about the kind of transition from this legislation. Last year's it was 100% prescriptive. It required localities to do things that we just wouldn't have been comfortable with. Whereas this year, it's viewed much more as a tool in the toolbox. Gives us a lot of flexibility and the ability to work with folks to do something that would fit Virginia Beach or any locality specifically for them. So, whenever there's this kind of what we call permissive legislative option, we like to try and show our support for it. We oftentimes, as a local government entity, we get chided a lot because we stand up and we're against a lot of legislation. So it's always nice when we can find pieces of legislation that we can show support for to try and grow that coalition.
Okay, thank you. And I also support the second one for elderly and disabled. I think that is important for real property, because we do have quite a few who just have fixed income and trying to navigate the whole thing. Thank you.
Hutch.
Thank you. Hey, Brent, the EMS one for the billing.
Yes, sir.
Not for the billing. I'm sorry for creating the other. I got the billing thing on my mind, obviously. The Medical Services Council. I would ask us all to help strongly oppose that. We don't need another level of bureaucracy to tell us how to do it, especially here in the eastern region of the state. This feels like back in my old job is that the hazmat teams from like the western part of the state, WISE. We'd go to a state meeting and they'd ask, how many calls have you been on? And they'd, it'd be 10 and they'd raise their hand. And for us, it was 300, in a year. You can't treat us all the same across the Commonwealth. And I don't know that this is, but this feels like it's along the same lines. So we already have Tim.
Yeah, that's.
Sir?
No, I was just gonna say that's my understanding of it as well. It's kind of a statewide solution where a statewide solution probably isn't
Yeah,
necessary.
And we definitely don't need it on the eastern part of the state. And then, I mean, we have TIMS, we have PIMS, we got all the other M's as far as, across the state already trying to help us. And they do a fine job. So I don't see a need to add another, especially if they start taking dollars out of our folks' pocket. So
Yes, sir.
thank you.
Okay, John
Appreciate that.
and Barbara.
Thank you, Brent, for the update. Just out of curiosity, this obstruction of right-of-way violations, HB 1966. I'm trying to imagine what the counter or opposition might be. Can you help explain that?
It's a little complicated, just more and from a behind the scenes kind of political standpoint than it is sort of kind of the merits of the legislation. And that's not a reflection on Delegate Tata. That's a reflection more on kind of a constant battle between local government and state government, and that state government honestly typically doesn't want to give local government more authority to do a whole lot more than we already do. There's just this constant conflict there that we're always working through, and I can think that that's really one of the stumbling blocks here.
Well, if another one of the stumbling blocks happens to be one among many reasons why partisanship has no place in local government, I hope that that's not the case. So because this is it's an issue that's important for visitors, for people who live here, and it is just one of many steps that I think we should and could take to help promote a more family-friendly, vibrant, aesthetically pleasing atmosphere at our resort.
Yeah, and I think you're on the right track there, Councilman.
Okay, Barbara?
In last week's update, I think you mentioned that there was a proposal to create a sports tourism fund at the state level. I would
Yes, ma'am.
think that would be something we would want to support.
Yes, ma'am. And I included some additional information on that for you in my Friday update. I know you had asked about that. And I took it, I agree with you completely. I think this is something we should support. So just a few bullet points on this one. So the grant would be administered by the Virginia Tourism Authority. Grants would be made available to visitors bureaus, chambers of commerce, sports and entertainment authorities, sports commissions, nonprofit sports organizations, localities, different departments of that locality. The bill requires the Virginia Tourism Authority to kind of establish the guidelines and the criteria. So those haven't been created yet, but that's pretty typical of these sort of grant programs at the state level. They, have a concept of what they want and maybe a framework, and then they charge the different department with coming up with the details. And so that's what's happening here. And so it would require them to create a work group of stakeholders that would convene and, in between legislative sessions and would make recommendations to the General Assembly by October 31st of this year. And then they would likely come back next year and approve those recommendations. And so those are really all the details of that legislation. If it is successful, we'll work to try and get some members of our team here at the city on that stakeholder group as they create those guidelines, so that we can try and make sure we influence that outcome.
Okay, we'll follow that then.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, anybody else at this point? All right, thank you for doing the work up there. We appreciate it, Patrick.
Yep. So, Mr. Mayor, Brent went over a few things that he would like council to give us authorization to support and oppose. The two items to support are the items over here, and then the ones to oppose are those items. Does council have any concerns or any issues if we move in that direction?
I think we'll go with the recommendation. Be okay?
Yep. Okay, cool.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you, Brent.
All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Now,
Have a good day.
All right. So, Mr. Mayor, members of council, at this time, our colleagues with Dominion Energy is going to come and brief the city council on a project that's going to happen in the Burton Station area. And at this time, we'll be joined by Sean Doherty, Senior Communications Specialist, and also Rick McLean, Project Manager with Dominion, to give the council an update on these projects.
Hey, welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you for the introduction. As called out, my name is Sean Doherty with Communications for Dominion Energy's electric transmissions projects. Gentleman to my right is not my bodyguard. This is the project manager for our for our project. So thank you for your time. First off, we're here to give you an update on the 27 line in North Virginia Beach. We're going to be getting active here very soon. To ground everybody, 27 line goes across from our Burton substation to the west there, almost near the airport, going up towards Shore Drive, Bayside, and then coming down Dam Neck Road and ending at our Virginia Beach substation. This project is necessary to maintain reliable energy power in the area. Not only has specific inspections revealed different types of decay and woodpecker damage, also salt contamination, but also you can even see with your naked eye, there are leaning towers. So we want to make sure we are continuing to provide reliable energy to the area. This project will use the existing right-of-way, and it is almost 13 miles long. So a few more details on the project. So after almost 5 decades of these structures, and some of them have been replaced over the years that have had a little more rot or decay along the way, but most of these structures that are wooden, 187 to be exact, will be replaced along with some of our concrete and steel poles. Some that have been replaced more recently will stay in place, but the majority of this project will have new transmission poles. Since this area does have a very tight right-of-way, most of the poles do share transmission power. I'm sorry, our distribution lines are shared with our transmission poles. So that's really to save on space there. And as we rebuild these lines and these poles, we will transition those distribution lines to also be on these structures as well. The construction schedule is displayed here. We're breaking this project up into 4 phases. We're getting near to starting our pre-construction phases, which is laying access activities like laying down matting, doing different staking of the structures, surveying, as well as minimal forestry. It's more like light trimming is what we've been told by our forestry team. The Burton to Bayside project, as shown there in blue, the first phase is going to start construction itself in April. And then going along the phases, we're going to skip Shore Drive, go over to Long Creek, and go down to Bain's Store on phase 2 in green. And then phase 3 will be from Bain's Store to Virginia Beach. Then we're going to jump back up to Bayside to Long Creek, as it's shown there in September 2026 to December 2027. As I want to call on the top there, this is pending weather and progress with the rest of the line. And we're happy to provide as many updates to not only you, but also the public as we progress on this project. These are some examples of how we've already engaged in our outreach with the public. So the top left is the announcement project last January. We gave an update on the project last summer in August, when our real estate group and our team were in the area surveying and checking out the right-of-way and different properties. We had left door hangers to let them know that while we were sniffing around out there, and when we needed to meet with people, if we needed to access their property to really get a good look at some of these structures. We do have an active project website, which is displayed there, dominionenergy.com/Burton-Virginia-Beach. The next few slides are some photo simulations of where some spots along the line will look. I know this is from a distance, this is pretty busy, and I apologize, but it's more of just a geographical map of where the substations are, and then the numbers in blue are showing the locations of the photo simulations I'm about to share with you. So the first here off Northampton Boulevard, which is in our phase 1 across the lake here, this really doesn't appear to have a huge change. However, the structures will be replaced, and the top is currently the structures look now. And I know if you have the presentation in front of you, you could probably see better rather than from the digital displays here. and then how we're going to rebuild the lines there from the lake. Now, this is looking from the boat ramps up towards Northampton Boulevard. Now here in front of the middle school off Great Neck Road, this again showing the lines are staying where they are. We're in the existing right-of-way, but there is a wooden pole here that will not be replaced. That is to remain in, but the structures behind it are showing the different and the upgraded transmission structures in the background. And then here at the Boatel, which I love that name, shows a different, this is a differentiation, is that if you see the existing photo here, that's an example of where the distribution lines are shared with the transmission lines. And if you notice in the photo simulation of proposed conditions, there is a distribution line there, the smaller one that has the T with the lines underneath it in the foreground. That one will remain in place. And then the transmission structures along the line will change there, and it jumps across the road before it crosses the water down West Great Neck. Where we're going from here, besides the pre-construction activities, which I told you about, we are going to meet with the Bayfront Advisory Commission, thanks to some friends in the room of connecting us with different groups. That meeting is scheduled for February 20th. We've reached out to the Bayville Farms Dog Park Group. We want to meet with them, even if it's virtual, just to kind of go over our plans and get their input. I just came here from Bayside Baptist Church, where I checked out their facilities. That's where we plan to have our open house for phase one along there, and give an opportunity for folks to come in to learn more about the project, see different posters that we have to help educate and answer questions from various subject matter experts. Once we get closer to the actual construction activity starting, we plan to do another mailer just to give folks a reminder that we will be in the area and we'll be doing work. And then as we progress along the line, we'll look at in-person engagements for the different phases, as well as more outreach to just make sure that folks know what the different construction completion phases are, but also when we're approaching the new ones. Just to call out there, we have previously met with Friends of Live Oaks group in the area, and some of the leaders from the Bayfront Advisory Commission, and we're going to meet with, as I mentioned before, with the broader group. That brings me to the end of my presentation for the updates. Happy to answer any questions. If I cannot, I know Rick will do his best, or we can come back to you with anything that's more specific.
You got it, Stacy.
Thank you for that. Has this project been coordinated with the Shore Drive Phase 3 CIP and the stormwater projects that are going on?
There have been conversations that have been had. There will be more conversations. I think that's a big part of why we put that towards the end of the project in phase 4. So Rick, I don't know if you want to give any more details on what the context of what's happened so far.
And Rick, if you could introduce yourself, will you speak as well?
Hi guys, Rick McLean. I'm the PM for this project. We have reached out to the city engineers and we've gotten preliminary plans. They're not completely full detailed yet, but they're working with our engineer, sending over, it looked like some sidewalk expansion. There was also a crossover that was involved in that, and we're getting whatever details they have to our engineer so that we can accommodate that and that we're not putting something in the way of what y'all are about to do. Y'all aren't there yet on your detail yet, but we are actively looking to be good partners on that.
Great, thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Okay, Josh, I'm sorry.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you for the presentation, and nice seeing you again. And I just wanted to say thank you for reaching out as early as you did, because we met, I want to say back in October, I think is what it was, to look through some of this and to learn about people like the Bayville Farm Dog Park group. There's a lot of people who take their dogs there, and they're really passionate about it, and so are the folks about the trees and the kind of naturescape around where you're going to be working. So thank you again for that, and really just hoping that we, like Councilmember Cummings said, just deconflict with the myriad of public works projects that are happening, not just in phase 3, but also phase 4, and there's an interim sidewalk project and some other things that are happening over there. So, but I know y'all are coordinating, and just want to say thank you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. And the biggest thing you can do is give us the concerns as soon as you can, and we can, put it in our design, and we can come up with, we may not be able to accommodate everything, but we're certainly going to work hard on doing that. It's a tight space. We don't have a lot of room, but we're happy to try and look at all pieces of it.
Hey, Amelia?
Thank you again. Now I'm Burton Station area. And just for communication, we have a group that you need to write down. It's called WBCU, which is the Western Bayside Community United. And that's the group that works along past Virginia Westland, along to the Burton Station area. So in case you cannot get enough information around, that's one group to tap. And also Tranquility at the Lakes, which is a senior center off of Burton Station Road. It's a good spot between there or the fire station for having meetings or forums with the community.
Thank you for that.
And one person did ask me, what is the address of that substation? Well, I didn't have an exact address or anything. But they were curious to know where exactly when you have Burton substation.
We can definitely follow up with you on the exact address. It's more of, it's an industrial park where that substation is. I'm forgetting the business that's right next to it, but
That's Bayside.
yes.
She's talking about.
Oh, wait, no, Burton is all the way to the west,
Yeah.
right? That's in the industrial area. Yeah.
So Burton's behind, it's Charlie's Truck Stop.
Yes, I know where Charlie
Behind
took.
that, there's a large field. It's right at the railroad tracks, and there's a couple of industrial buildings that are it's existing. So it's been there. All these are existing. I'm sorry. Yeah, all these are existing substations. So there's no expansion to any of the substations at all.
It's just, community people were curious, where is this in the first place?
Yeah,
They did not know about that, even though it's existing. So if you
right
can
at Diamond
follow up.
Springs. But we can follow up with that, and the map actually interacts and gives you the locations. Correct?
Yeah. Thanks, Rick. That's a good call. So one of the resources that we are putting together for our community meetings, in addition to more photo simulations, is something called the Backyard app, where someone could type in their address and see where the work might be near their actual residence.
Oh.
So, and to Rick's point, we will have all the specific addresses and of the substations.
Yeah, I'm asking because some people are not used to all of the computer parts, but they still wanted to know.
Yes.
So if you will break it down for laymen, I know you have Max back there,
No, we do.
Jonathan back there, they're always in contact with me, but if you can, and they have my email and everything. So that, it just brings them up, up to speed.
Not a problem.
And I'm glad you're replacing those wooden structures.
We are too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Stacy?
Do you anticipate any long-term traffic disruptions in this project?
There will be lane closures, but not road closures, meaning there will not be detours or actually stopping with flagging operations. There will be signage of, we're in mostly Northampton Boulevard. Otherwise, we'll be off the road, but we do not anticipate any traffic stoppage.
Okay, anybody else? All right, thank you both. Really appreciate it.
Yes.
you, guys.
The conversation doesn't stop here. My contact information is in the presentation. Obviously, we leverage our friends and our external affairs with Jacob and Max, but thank you for your time and continued partnership.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And hello to Max Bartholomew.
All right, so Mr. Mayor, members of council, at this time, the next briefing will be presented by members of your short-term rental task force. As you recall, City Council created this task force in December 2023. Since that time, they've been meeting to go over the various different enforcement measures the city has taken, and they're bringing forward recommendations for City Council to consider. The next voice you will likely hear would be from Andrew Cohen, the chair of the task force.
Welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm joined by multitudes. Good afternoon. I'm Andy Cohen. I'm the chair of the Short-Term Rental Enforcement Task Force. Thank you for inviting us to present our recommendations to you today. As Mr. Junhaney just introduced us, so over a year ago, Council created the STR Enforcement Task Force. You directed us to study STR enforcement and registration, including grandfathered properties. Oh, there we go. And to recommend how to improve enforcement and registration, including recognition of STR owners who are fully compliant. So we instantly got a lot of questions about our scope from people who were interested in this. So outside of our scope were revenue enforcement, changing the geographic areas where new STRs are allowed, or overhauling the STR ordinance. But we did recommend, and we are recommending, a few ordinance changes. So City Council appointed 10 task force members from 5 districts with large numbers of short-term rentals, and members include both STR operators and residents of those districts. So we had a real diversity of perspectives and personalities at the table. I want to thank my fellow task force members for their patience and persistence in listening to each other and to city staff and coming up with consensus on most recommendations. I want to also thank city staff who were enormously valuable resources in this process. So first, I want to hand off to, the City Council, the city hired Fountain Works from North Carolina to facilitate our task force. So I want to hand off to Laura Gomez-Nichols from Fountain Works to give to outline our overall process.
Welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of council. Thank you. I'm Laura Gomez-Nichols, like Andy said. I work with Fountain Works, and we came in as a neutral facilitator to ensure all task force members were able to participate effectively. The task force met 6 times, as you can see on the screen, between June and October of 2024, for a total of 26 hours per person. In addition to the task force meetings, people also studied in between the meetings, did their own research, and reviewed materials. We started the process off by using some human-centered design principles so that task force members had to empathize with various people involved in the process. So that's neighbors, property owners, renters, and inspectors. And then from there, we really just tried to understand the short-term rental situation here in Virginia Beach. We outlined key issues and areas of improvement, defined a shared vision, and developed, refined, and finally voted on recommendations. And then that brought us here today. Okay.
Hello, can you hear me? It's a little tall for me. Oh, which button? I'm going to push the wrong button. I'm not great with that. My name is Kimberly Denton. I'm the vice chair of the committee. Thank you all for having us. One of the first things we did was come up with the goals for our task force, what we were going to look at, and what we were focusing on. So these are our goals: public safety and peaceful enjoyment to protect not only the renters, the neighbors, the neighborhoods, and the homeowners. So making sure we were looking from all perspectives. We were looking for a less burdensome process for the operators and the city, improved and proactive enforcement, city control of the ordinance to make sure that it was within the scope of what we were doing, effective regulation and enforcement of different property types, appropriate and flexible recommendations for the properties, and incentives for those that are already compliant.
All right. So staff started this process. We wanted to give the task force an idea of the scope of short-term rentals in our city. So we want to show you the numbers that staff pulled at the time the task force began. And these are the numbers throughout. even though these numbers change month to month. And at the end of this presentation, I'll give you an idea of where they stand now. But these are the numbers that the task force used in making their considerations. Just to give you an idea, there were 2,699 short-term rentals registered with the Commissioner of Revenue. Of those, 729 had zoning permits, and there were 193 permits pending. There were 428 grandfathered properties, 248 use permits, and 201 home shares. Those are the registration numbers. We also looked at enforcement, where as of February 22nd, February 2022, we had issued 269 summons. A majority of those did not go to court. Nearly half of them were voluntary compliance. Of the ones that did go to court, we had a very high 85% of the cases. They upheld the city's decision, but majority of the time it was voluntary compliance. So just wanted to give you a picture of what the task force was looking at when they considered these recommendations.
Okay, I get to take you through our 20 recommendations. I'm going to try to do this very quickly so we can cover them all, and then we'll have time to discuss them. So no one thought this would be easy, but I want to highlight that we had unanimous agreement on 13 out of our 20 recommendations. So on that first sub-bullet, I just need to make a correction. It should say that only 1 or 2 members voted against any of the recommendations. There were more than 3 dissents. Or more than 2 dissents for some of them, but in some cases, dissenters still voted in favor of the recommendations when the task force agreed to record their dissents. So while 12 recommendations are for action by council, you've already considered the 3 legislative agenda items, so we thank you for taking early action on those. The largest number of recommendations are for action by planning, and some of those are already in progress. In the interest of time, I'm going to move quickly through the next few slides. So. Taking from the ordinance that created the task force, that we teased out of that 4, we called them study areas. So registration, renewal, enforcement, recognition for compliance, and grandfathered properties, and we look to generate recommendations in each of those areas. So the number of recommendations adds to more than 20 because several of our recommendations actually address more than one of those. So the slide changed. Oh, okay. So sorry about that. The slide changed since I got it. So there are 7 ordinance changes, and then there are 2 budget and staffing recommendations and the 3 legislative agenda. So, and there were several of these. So several of these are noted. It was supposed to be noted on the slide, but that it involves action by both council and planning department. So I'm sorry, these slides changed from when I last saw them. So I'm going to jump right into our recommendations. So just to orient you for the next several slides. So for each of the recommendations, we identified the study areas. So across the top, the study areas to which it corresponds and whether it involves action by city council or planning or both. The rationale for the recommendation, individual actions that we recommend, and then dissents if there were any. Our report, so it's not in the presentation, but in the report, there's also a problem statement for each recommendation. So, okay, so on this slide, there was supposed to be a picture of those very attractive black and white rectangular signs that are required to be posted on short-term rental properties. The current ordinance specifies the content of this sign, but that design is just the sample in the planning department guidelines, and it is not required to look like that. But we learned that STR operators often just bring this sign sample from the planning department guidelines, take that to a sign maker and say, make me one of these. Well, they don't need to look like that. So, and also there's the current ordinance does not include any other information like the contact information for the actual property manager or owner. So we recommend that council update the ordinance to allow these signs to include contact information for the property owner or manager to facilitate resolution of minor problems without involving city staff. And we recommend that planning update the sign sample in their guidelines to demonstrate how signs can be more attractive while including the required content. So 3 dissenters preferred that the sign requirement be removed altogether, or that property management signs alone be sufficient. But the task force ended up being unanimous on this recommendation as an improvement on the current ordinance. Okay, so so this regards the structural safety inspection. So the current ordinance requires that structural safety inspections be done by, quote, a licensed design professional. It turns out there's very few of these kind of professionals who are willing to sign off on structures that they didn't design, particularly because they can only do an external inspection. They can't take it apart and look inside. So the permits and inspections administrator, so these inspections have become a bottleneck and an impediment to STR permitting. So the permits and inspections administrator actually told us that licensed design professionals are no more qualified to do these inspections than Class A, B, and C general contractors. So we recommend the ordinance be changed to allow licensed contractors to do these inspections. Permits and inspections administrator also told us that the current ordinance requires posting of a placard that says how many people a deck can support. But the permits and inspections administrator told us that any determination of that number, the maximum number that a deck can handle, is based on rules of thumb, and there's nothing in the code about that, and it's not a specific design standard, and that the building code is a more objective and reliable basis for structural safety. So we recommend council modify the ordinance to reflect this too. And we've got a separate recommendation regarding the frequency of these inspections. So this one actually doesn't require action by council, but with the STR annual permit renewal process currently requires, basically what we heard was redoing the whole application process even when nothing has changed from the prior year. So to save time for applicants to prepare this documentation and to save time for staff from reviewing it so they can do other things like enforcement, we recommend that planning simplify this process by allowing applicants to simply pay the permit fee and attest that there were no changes to their previously submitted documentation. Okay, so this is a very busy slide. And it involves actually more than just attestations. But for number 4 here, building on the prior recommendation, the task force saw an opportunity to save time for STR operators and allow planning to allocate more zoning inspector time to enforcement. The current ordinance requires zoning inspectors do life safety inspections annually or every 3 years for STRs that are managed by property management companies. So these inspections confirm the presence of working smoke alarms, carbon monoxide detectors, and fire extinguishers, and other information that's required to be posted in each STR. We recommend that the ordinance, changing the ordinance to reduce the required frequency of the inspections by zoning staff to every 5 years and require only attestations by the operator in the intervening years. We also recommend that the ordinance be changed so that for STRs that require a parking plan, that plan must be posted in the STR for reference by guests. To reduce time that planning spends reviewing insurance documents, which can be complex, and planning staff told us sometimes they don't really feel comfortable reviewing these documents, we recommend that planning instead require a much simpler certificate of insurance rather than having to go through the whole policy document. Some dissents on this noted that city's life safety inspections are redundant with insurance company requirements, and others felt that the attestations should only be allowed after inspection and approval for the initial STR permit application. But the task force was, again, unanimous that this was an improvement to current requirements. There's currently a fee that's required when a permit is issued, an STR permit is issued. Planning told us that they often spend time on STR permit applications that are incomplete or that are submitted for properties that are clearly not eligible. Task force recommends changing the ordinance to add an application fee as an incentive for applicants to take more time in preparing their applications before submitting them. And this would avoid staff spending time on resubmissions and ineligible applications. If the application is approved, the application fee could then be applied to the permit fee. So grandfathered properties have been a challenge here. So there's a number of grandfathered properties that have been unable to come into compliance because they cannot fit enough on-site parking to meet the requirements of the STR. or the STR ordinance. So while parking space in many neighborhoods is scarce in many neighborhoods where STRs are located, the task force recognized that the intent of the current ordinance is to allow grandfathered STRs to continue to operate where practical. So we came to the compromise that grandfathered properties should only be required to meet the parking requirements for the dwelling at the time of construction, but that the STR listing must include the number of available parking spaces so guests know in advance that parking is limited. A dissent on this concerned the negative impact on residents and neighbors of requiring less than one parking space per bedroom. So item 7 is for action by planning. We heard concerns about differing interpretations of planning department regulations on allowable parking surface materials for additional parking spaces. So the task force recommended that the planning director clarify what materials are allowed for additional parking spaces. We further recommend that only permeable materials be allowed in the overlay district to avoid increased flooding problems with additional impermeable surfaces. So again, getting back to grandfathered properties, recommendation 6 relaxed the parking requirements for grandfathered STRs, and recommendation 2 makes it easier for them to get the structural safety inspections. So this should enable, these 2 items should enable many of them to become permitted. So the task force recommends that planning set a deadline for STRs to become permitted and then use the existing provision of the STR ordinance to bring remaining non-compliant grandfathered STRs before council to consider their revocation of their status as grandfathered properties. So, again, an action for planning is trash has been a continued concern, a source of complaints by neighbors. Planning agreed that they can update guest rules posted in each STR to include detailed information about trash, recycling, pickup schedules, and the need to bring in empty bins from the street. So again, so you may be aware that planning currently uses 2 software systems, Acela and Host Compliance, for STR registration and enforcement. So planning has actually started work on integrating these and improving the way that they work together and the way they use them. So we are recommending they continue to do those integrations and implement more of the capabilities of those systems with a focus on streamlining both registration and enforcement, enabling planning to be more responsive to STR operators and to residents with complaints, and to be more effective in identifying and pursuing violations. We're doing on time. Good. So I mentioned the structural safety inspections before in terms of who's qualified or who should be qualified to do them. So deck collapses are a serious concern, and there have been a few, such as in the photo on this slide from a few years ago. And there was another one in Sandbridge more recently. So we're very concerned about that. But again, the permits and inspections administrator told us that inspections would probably not have caught the problems that caused most of these deck collapses that occurred. He also told us that doing these every 3 years, as the ordinance currently requires, was probably excessive. So we recommend these inspections be required only every 5 years. We did feel like they were important to continue at some level, but felt like they could be a bit less frequent, and that inspections not be required for decks constructed to code in the prior 5 years. We did not come to a recommendation on whether inspections should continue to be required for decks less than 30 inches to the ground or above the ground, but we agreed that council should consider this. Again, one dissent felt these inspections shouldn't be required at all because they are because the permits and inspections didn't consider them effective, and that the requirements of insurance companies should be sufficient. But the task force did include this as one of our recommendations. So the penalties for under our current STR ordinance, when council first adopted the STR ordinance, the violations were criminal offenses, and so the penalties available were more severe. Subsequently, council changed those violations to civil with the intent to streamline enforcement by lowering the burden of evidence. But staff told us this change has not actually streamlined enforcement. It does save them some time, but it doesn't streamline the enforcement, and it reduces the available penalties. So with the dissent noted, the task force recommends returning the penalties to criminal to allow more severe penalties and increase the incentives for compliance. So the two items that I mentioned regarding staffing, the first one is that planning told us that adding a full-time STR customer service representative would provide a dedicated point of contact for operators and the public for registration, enforcement, and complaints, while allowing existing staff to remain more focused on performing the current functions of STR registration and enforcement. Two task force members dissented on diversion of city funds for this, but we recommend that council fund this additional position. So Kevin's going to share some more updated data with you showing that planning is currently aware of over 700 unpermitted STRs listed in Virginia Beach as of a couple of weeks ago. This is more than a third of all STRs currently listed in Virginia Beach. Planning told us they don't currently have enough staff to do proactive enforcement, with current staff focused mainly on processing applications and renewals and responding to complaints. They told us that additional zoning inspectors would allow them to work through this backlog of known unpermitted STRs and be more proactive in identifying and pursuing these more timely. So as for the prior recommendation, two task force members dissented on diversion of city funds for this, but the task force recommends that council fund these additional positions. Home stretch. So on behalf of the task force, I sent the recommendations 15, 16, and 17 to council back in October so that you could consider them timely to incorporate them into the city's legislative agenda for the current session of the General Assembly. This recommendation 15 is to seek authority, seek authority for the Commonwealth from the Commonwealth to require STR platforms like Airbnb to remove listings for unpermitted STRs. This would increase incentives for compliance and allow Virginia Beach and other localities to take more timely action to curtail operation of non-compliant STRs, particularly the repeat offenders. So last year's council already acted on this recommendation and requested our delegation pursue this. As Brent shared a little while ago, Delegate Converse Fowler introduced HB 1688 on this, and that is pending in the House. Also, Delegate Ware from Powhatan introduced HB 1557, a broader bill that was considered last year that, in addition to giving this authority to localities, would create a statewide registry for STRs to facilitate revenue enforcement by local commissioners of the revenue. Dissenters felt that this could undercut other recommended enforcement improvements, but the task force recommends that Virginia Beach pursue this authority provided that is based on due process and adjudication. So in the last few years, several bills in the General Assembly have sought to preempt local authority to regulate short-term rentals, like it did in Sandbridge in 2018. For the last 2 years, Council included policy statements in its legislative agenda seeking to protect this local authority, and the task force recommends that you continue to pursue this position. While dissenting members would welcome the legislature to make STRs a by right use statewide, the task force agreed to recommend that council continue to maintain its policy position to oppose this. So if the council does not change STR violations from civil to criminal as proposed in our recommendation number 12, we recommend that council should seek legislation to increase fines for those violations to better deter noncompliance. Dissenters acknowledge that increasing fines may help with enforcement in Virginia Beach, but they did not support doing this statewide. We appreciate that last year's council did accept this recommendation and included it in the 2025 legislative agenda, but we're not aware of current legislation that would do this. So the last three recommendations are all planning department action. They don't require direct action by city council, but the first has to do with transparency. The task force saw an opportunity to increase transparency about STR complaints, enforcement activities, and compliant properties. We heard from residents who don't know how to determine whether a property is an STR, whether it's permitted, whether complaints or violations are pending on an STR. And when they made complaints, they felt like they didn't know how to monitor the status of their complaints. So turns out this information is actually already available to the public on Acela, but I went to go find it, and it's really hard to navigate. And planning agreed that it's difficult for the public to find the information in the system, so they agreed to improve this. Planning also agreed that they could be more proactive in providing notifications to people who file complaints about the status of their complaints, such as with automatic email notifications. So the task force recognized that STR guests may not know all of our local laws or appreciate that residents in neighboring homes may not all be vacationers like them, but we assume that most guests want to be good neighbors. So we recommend the planning department provide outreach to STR guests on how to be good neighbors. And then for our last recommendation, the task force recognizes that most STR operators also want to be good neighbors and comply with ordinances and have their guests do so too. Planning agreed that they could do more outreach to STR operators about ordinance requirements and that this could improve compliance by them and their guests, by operators and their guests. One dissenting member wanted this outreach to include legal guidance to STR operators, such as language to include in rental agreements to address guest behavior. But staff raised concern about this, and the task force didn't consider this necessary. So that was a very quick pass through 20 recommendations. And we're going to be happy to have more discussion about those. But first, I want to hand off to Kevin and Kimberly to wrap up the presentation. So before I do that, I just want to thank you for creating this task force and for taking the time to consider our recommendations.
Welcome back.
Yes, as I stated earlier, I wanted to end with just giving you a snapshot of where we currently stand with our short-term rental numbers. I think it's important to recognize Sherry Yanov. She's sitting over here at the computer. She began in August of 2024. She is our short-term rental team leader. She has worked diligently with our two inspectors, Lamar and Tilly, to really bring this program up. There's been a huge push to get unpermitted properties permitted, which you will see in this. Right now, we have 1,872 total short-term rental units identified in the city. Of those, 1,161 are permitted. Just to give you an idea, back in February, the numbers I gave you earlier, we had 27% of all identified units permitted. We have raised that to 62%. Grandfathered properties remains the same as you would expect, because once a property is grandfathered, there are no more new grandfathered. But of those 428 properties, 316 of them are permitted. And then the number I'm probably most proud of is that there are only 34 short-term rental permits pending. We had hundreds of them a while back. We did a all hands on deck and have worked very hard. Of those 34 permits pending, majority of them are just waiting on information from the applicant. So this is a snapshot of where the program stands today.
So,
Hello.
hello again. This was a lot of information, a lot of recommendations that we made, but we wanted to give it to you in a very short and sweet version. And that is, these are the 4 things for you all to move forward on if you agree with our recommendations, which we hope you do. The first is to hopefully direct staff to draft recommendations for the recommended ordinance changes, which they are all written out in text amendments in the full report. Add the recommended planning staff that we're suggesting in order to help with the backlog. Pursue recommended legislative agenda items, which we've already heard from Brent today, are being considered, and to direct the planning department to proceed with the recommended actions that they've already started to put some of those in place. As Andy said, we really thank you all for putting together this task force and allowing us to participate in it. And we hope that we can answer any questions that you have about what we've recommended. Thank you all.
Okay, thank you. There is no shortcut in discussing the complexity and magnitude of the short-term rental dilemmas that we face. But I just want to thank you all very much. Do we have any Amelia then Worth?
Well, I was just going to give them a rousing applause. Many cities, are working with this, and you've really cut the work in half, giving us all the way down to just 4 that we can wrap our heads around. So thank you all, and the young lady hiding back there, thank you as well.
Hey, Worth?
Thank you, Mayor Dyer. And I want to have a statement, a question, and a request. But the statement is, first, I would like to Really thank Mr. Cohen, Ms. Denton as private citizens, Mr. Kemp and the planning department and Fountain Works as well for your continued help with our city. This task force, in my opinion, has done everything that I was hoping for when we received a presentation from Kathy Warren, Department Director of Planning on this situation. And we just heard an update from Mr. Kemp on the numbers. But you have addressed a lot of different areas. As Mayor, you just said, there are a lot of complexities here. So I really do appreciate you distilling this down. It's really going to be 9 requests that I want to ask in a minute. But I do have a question, because I do support your recommendations with the exception of this question. That is, I'd like to hear staff's response to adding additional staff to address what's being asked. That's enforcement as well as registration.
Right, so the additional staff, what that would allow us to do, the biggest thing would be to be proactive in enforcement. Right now, just to give you an idea, we have 2 inspectors on the short-term rental team. Those inspectors handle all enforcement and all registration tasks. We have had a temporary employee managing the phones. What these recommendations would do is it would allow for 1 short-term rental full-time staff to handle the customer service, be the front end, be the face of short-term rentals, and then to have enough field staff where we can be proactive and get all of them registered and then stay on top of them with the complaints. So, with a city this size and with as many short-term rentals as we have, to be appropriately staffed is important.
And that's a follow-up. So in your estimation, Mr. Kemp, are we losing money as a city to have this program? Are we breaking even? Or are we making money? Or Mr. Manager? Not that we're in the business of making money, but.
There's an argument on both sides of it, but from our standpoint, it's not paying for itself.
It is not?
It is not paying for itself. So I think one of the things that when the planning staff brought forward the recommendations from the task force, when we talked about it, the thing I asked them to do was do a benchmark scan of our fees, what we charge from our application standpoint and what we charge from a permitting standpoint, to get a sense of if it doesn't make sense to increase those, to give council an option in lieu of putting general fund dollars towards it. So from what we see and from my conversation with budget, we're not necessarily breaking even with what we collect from the fees that we charge for the short-term rental program.
Just a little bit more discussion. Short-term rentals, because of who we are as a city of Virginia Beach, we are, tourism is a big part of our city. And look at the name Virginia and the location Virginia Beach. So it's a big industry in our city. It also is a home to a lot of families and whatnot. So in my district, District 6, but around the oceanfront and the bay and in Sandbridge, we have this discussion around the table and from the constituents about how many STRs we should have. So that's not the discussion today necessarily, but that's why it is a big topic that I'm hearing about. So I would like for this body to consider it's 9 requests for total, but 7 of those 9 would be an ordinance change. The remaining 2 would be a budget request, which I just asked about. I guess that's another discussion for another day, but I think they did a great job. This is an all-star membership of this committee. A lot of experience and opinions and relevance were at the table. I think they did a great job. And we upped our game, is what I said before, and I think that's what we're doing here. And I need 2 or 3 more sponsors to get this before us as an ordinance, and then we can discuss it or pass it.
I'd be willing to sponsor it. Okay. Josh.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, everybody, for the presentation and for all the hard work. And certainly want to recognize the folks I see in the crowd who are part of the task force. So thank you for your time and effort very much. I'm supportive of these recommendations in terms of putting an ordinance in front of us to take a look at. I did have a question about the switching from civil to criminal, and I understand it started out as a criminal offense and it went to civil. I'd love to hear from our city attorney. I'm sure it has a little bit to do with a higher standard of proof or burden of proof in criminal cases. I can tell you, and I'm sure most, if not all of us, have that one or two in our district that we get called on all the time, and not just all the time. It takes like, I mean, I've been working on one property for 2 years, and it's because we can't serve this person. And I'm looking at this number, you know, the 40 that we can't serve, those are probably the ones that are really, really painful for all of us, because those are people that are just irresponsible and absent, and in some cases worse. So this is really very, very difficult issue, especially for the people who live right next to these things. And I wonder what, you know, the move to a criminal kind of scheme might look like. I wonder if there's room perhaps, and Mr. Cohen, you and I kind of talked about this after the fact, but if there's an opportunity to perhaps say your first 2 offenses at this property or with this owner are in the civil realm, and if you scale it up, then you're really behaving badly, and we treat you in the criminal realm. So is that kind of tiered approach possible, to maybe leave some room so that we're not slapping people with criminal violations right off the gate?
I think so, but we want to look at that. I know we looked at that sort of ramping up from civil to criminal when we were talking about the noise ordinance at some time in the past. And I'd want to go back and look at that research again, just to be sure. But you are correct. I think the issue or the concern that we had at the time was the evidence necessary to convict for a civil offense is a mere preponderance. And then if you're building a later criminal case on that, now you have to have proven the predicates, presumably by clear and convincing. And so I'm not sure how that would work, but we can look into that and respond back to you. The other issue is it is more time consuming under the criminal process, and judges are less willing to convict, not just because of the higher burden of proof, but because our judges are used to seeing a lot more serious criminal offenses coming before them, and they're hesitant to give somebody a criminal conviction on their record on an issue like this. So it's a mixed bag. Certainly a lot of jurisdictions do have it as a criminal offense, but there was some thought that went into it when we made it civil the first time around. So.
Okay, Hutch, Amelia, Michael.
So can we go to slide 13, please? So this deals with what I can see is about the time frame. Oh no, this one is, I'm sorry, the A, B, or C general contractor. So from the group, and I'm not sure if this is Andrew, and also thanks for doing all this. It was a lot, but it's good, it's needed. But as I've been on, because when we go to the slide 22, I was on that call, and I've been on like 5 of them between Sandbridge and Chicks Beach. And I don't believe any of them were from overcrowding on it. It wasn't like a New Year's Eve thing. She's not here, but Miss Henley and I conversed on a couple of them back in my prior days. Is that so? I'm not hesitant. I mean, AB or the contractors are the contractor. I'm good with that, but I'd like to know: is it because we don't have enough inspectors? You know, we just said a minute ago. I just literally said a minute ago with the thing that we were presented about the not adding bureaucracy. So I'm not sure I want to get in the way of this one as far as, is this cutting it down, or are we cutting a step? You see what I'm saying? Is like, because I can tell you these decks are going to keep failing. We're not, you know, I'm not real thrilled about adding time to this when these things are checked or not checked, and are we checking the checker? You know what I mean? Who's going back behind them, making sure that they're doing a thorough job? If it's getting more business for our general public and our general contractors, I'm all for it. But I also want to make sure we don't end up with it, because one of them on the second one you have, and then I'll be quiet, is the person, I believe, had a very substantial back injury that they probably will never recover from. It doesn't have to kill everybody for it to be a detrimental call or something that's just not good. It's not good for us, whether it's tourists or anybody. We just don't want to see them get hurt coming to our city. So anyway, if you could answer that, I'd appreciate it.
Well, this recommendation does not cut a step. What it does is it broadens who can perform these inspections. This
Right.
isn't.
You feel confident that this group is going to do the same level or above what we're doing?
To clarify, Councilmember Hutchinson, this isn't something that's done by city staff right now. Like city staff
contracting it out,
or this is a requirement that council made up for short-term rentals. So city staff, we get involved if they pull a permit to build a deck, and then we inspect it as part of that work. But then once the home is built, then people live in the home. Council added for STRs that if you have an STR, you have to you got to get a permit. You don't have to get a permit, but you got to get an inspection done every 3 years.
Yeah.
So this was always something that was done by the private sector.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
But the 3 years is the 3 year. That we're asking to extend that. Is that what I'm hearing? Extend that to 5 years?
Correct.
And that's why, there's my why. Why? So please, somebody give me the reason.
Well, the reason it was discussed to extend is to make the process less burdensome on the applicant.
Debt collapsing's not less, you know what I mean? I can't help, those are the flags that go up for me. It doesn't happen but every 5 years, and I know there are 1,000 of them, and we only have it happen with one, but, I'm just not real comfortable with that part. But okay, thanks for answering that part. Now, if you'd go to slide 22, please. Well, that is, never mind, I'm sorry, I did them both. But that one there, I can tell you, was not from overloading or anything like that. It just gave way because the nails rusted and it wasn't attached properly, and somebody missed it. So that's what I'm trying to stress, is that we need to work hard to not, whether it's us or whether it's the contractor or the inspections, we need to have some process. And I understand what what our council is saying. You don't want to make it criminal, but it's got to cause some pain, or it's going to continue to happen. So anyway, I just throw that stuff out there as far as something that we should consider before we start making changes, especially from 3 years to 5 years. If we're having more people or we're widening it, is that not enough to look at for a year to say, well, we're giving you some more folks or trying to do it. Can we see if it cuts the burden that way instead of the other? I'm just one voice. I'm just trying to think through this and find a middle ground.
Yeah, I think you made some good points. Okay,
Right, just real briefly on that is the permits and inspections administrator said 3 years is kind of arbitrary, 5 years is kind of arbitrary.
Yeah.
We didn't have the expertise on this, but they said that they felt that 3 years was probably more frequent than necessary. So we relied on them.
Amelia?
Sponsors. Yeah, the sponsors.
Michael?
Thank you, Mayor. And I want to join those who are thanking you for your work and very deliberate and thoughtful approach to this matter, and I appreciate it. I also would like to participate in the discussions, and Mr. Remick, I'm happy to be included as a supporter. But I also feel an obligation. I have no specific comments in relation to the 20 recommendations that were made, which is robust, I must say. Other than, as I'm sitting around this table, I'm realizing that probably Mayor Dyer and I were the only ones at this table who were here when the previous regulations were adopted. And as a result, and others too, but as council members, I do want to just caution us about moving too fast. These were very robust community conversations. There's strong and diverse points of view. This is a very wide-ranging set of recommendations, and I think we don't, as soon as we pass them, as has been my experience, there'll be now, another need to update or pass new ones. So I think we need to take our time with this. I think we need to have one or two public hearings as part of this. And knowing that we, are opening ourselves up, we're opening this box back up. And there may be very good reasons to do that. But I just think it's really important on this issue to proceed with caution and to proceed very deliberatively and be aware that we are re-entering this kind of STR conversation, which can be quite divisive. And there's good reasons to proceed with these updates, and I'm supportive of many, if not all of them. I know they're very well constructed, but there is a broad range of views on this topic, and I think we need to just take our time. I think we need to discuss this more comprehensively than we just have today, and we need to reach out to our respective communities and folks we know in the community and seek their input and opinions as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I like the discussion, Art, so I would like to put my name down as wanting to have that discussion. Even though I wasn't on council, I read all about it and listened to residents speak in terms whether they were favorable of it or not. But I think it's worth us having a discussion. Other cities are doing it, some successfully. I think it's, a way for others to have business. And if this is a business that keeps their families afloat, I think it's worth us having a discussion concerning short-term rentals. And thank you for everyone here and the courage to stand and give a presentation. Thank you.
Okay.
Could I, I'm sorry, could you go back to that one we were just on? You're jumping all around. There you go. Whoop, nope.
There.
I'll stop.
Close. There we go.
So, I wish I hadn't seen this. Permits and inspection administrator said this deck collapse and most others could likely not have been caught by a structural safety inspection. Well, I'm not going to cuss, but dag, I mean that's not good. We should be catching them, and if we're not catching them, why are we not catching them? And then what do we got to put that? That's why we're here. And that's why we're having these discussions. Is that if there's something that's going to cause a problem and maybe a fatality, then we need to figure out the reason that's happening. And well, I don't even understand how that couldn't be caught. But I know they're not here. I'm not trying to pick on them. Yeah.
I can respond not as a broad statement, but I can on this particular one because the picture's up there.
Yeah.
It was a failure behind the fascia board that was wrapped. So unless you took apart some of the deck, you wouldn't have seen how corroded those fasteners were.
Right.
So in this case, if you were just inspecting it at face level, it would have looked fine.
Yeah. Kev, I hear you on that, buddy, but as having a little bit of know-how on how to do this stuff, it's a simple little tool about that big that you pop in there and pull it off, and you'd be able to see behind that all the way down that row. So, and anybody that's worth their weight in gold could pop that open and take a quick peek and put that back on in about 45 seconds. So, buddy, I understand you taking up for them, but no, we need to know. Because that's our, besides flooding and the collapse and the colossal fires that we get because of the wind-driven stuff down there, this is the number one reason people, and unfortunately the drowning, I'm not taking away from that. But in the structure, that position, that picture is what we go down there for. So that's why I say that needs to be on a high priority of mine, and I'll get off my soapbox. Thanks, buddy.
Okay, anybody else at this point? Patrick?
So, Mr. Mayor, I'm hearing, sounds like a majority of y'all want to bring an ordinance forward, but I'm also hearing some of you all wanting to have a conversation and discussion on it first.
Perhaps, but I think the recommendation to have some public hearings on it, and that would also give us the opportunity to get the input and flush things out. So in other words, maybe go ahead and, put the ordinances out and, but then again, we just won't have a rapid vote on it. We'll just at least get out and see it in ordinance form and then move, from there.
Okay. So the attorney's office is to draft the ordinance and then prepare some public comment for some public comment meetings.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
All right, great stuff.
Thank you,
And listen,
Councilor.
I just want to thank the members of the task force that came into the audience today. Recently Virginia Beach was recognized as the most caring city, and one of the reasons they cited was the fact that so many people give their time, talent, and treasure to help out other people. And I think you are just a sterling example of doing that. And thank you all, not only for working on it, but for coming here today. Thank you very much.
Can they stand so we see who you are?
Come on, Elaine, come on, stand up. You got it. All right, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, moving on.
Yeah.
You got it. Okay. Okay, folks, thank you all for coming.
All right, so Mr. Mayor, members of council, the next presentation will be a presentation on tax diversification. And this item was requested by City Council as part of the reconciliation letter to the fiscal year 24-25 budget. Next voice you'll hear is Kevin Chatelier, and he'll give City Council an overview of the different ways that we can diversify our taxes.
Okay, welcome.
Okay, thank you, Mayor, members of council. City manager did a great job introducing, so I'll move through these a little bit quicker and not provide as much background, maybe catch back up on time, so allow you all more time for discussion. So city manager noted that this direction was provided by city council as part of the reconciliation process. This slide includes that specific language, slide 2. So the interesting thing looking back is that this conversation and discussion of tax diversification is not necessarily a new conversation. Mostly over the years, this has been driven by discussion about real estate and the allowable rate or the desired rate to establish each year as a part of the operating budget. Trying to find that right balance of the right rate to establish without degrading or eroding services. City Council did a fairly deep dive of this as recently as 2007 with the establishment of the Blue Ribbon Task Force. It's a fairly complex deep dive that this task force accomplished back in 2007. At that time, the mayor, as a council member, was a part of the task force, as well as the Vice Mayor Wilson. She was also a part of that task force as a council member at the time. Also, other members of that task force were members of the state delegation, residents within the city, as well as representatives from the business community. So what's interesting is looking back and reading that report again, many of the challenges that are relevant today existed back then as well, and the challenges of trying to find that right balance of meeting services and establishing the appropriate level of taxation. So City Council has a long history of establishing a lower tax rate specifically to target certain areas where there's identified needs for relief. You can see from the slide here several tax categories and relief initiatives through the lowering of personal property tax rates, as well as the bottom table there with the business professional and occupational license, or BPOL. Again, coming back to real estate, as often this conversation does, this slide here has a standalone as there's a couple of takeaways from this.
The top tables represent or reflect the annual amount associated with the programs that provide specific targeted tax relief to the elderly and disabled for those of qualifying age and income thresholds, as well as the mandated tax for disabled veterans as implemented. Both of those in FY 24-25, the dollar amounts are associated next to those. The bottom table there reflects the lower tax rate or the absorbed tax rate since the year 2020. More targeted relief efforts have been put in place by City Council in recent years with an effort more so to lower the tax burden as opposed to diversifying it and replace it with other tax sources to support the annual operating budget. So the real estate tax rate itself has been reduced by 4.75 cents since 2020. And also City Council has often discussed, made the decision to absorb through the existing real estate tax rate, the amount necessary to sustainably support the bond referendum of $567 million. So the amount in the FY 24-25 operating budget that those two amounts combined would be equivalent to is roughly about $69.7 million. And it could just be that the retreats in my mind in terms of means of financing, but that's a substantial annual amount of tax avoidance the City Council has put into place over the years. And so translating that to the CIP to give a sense of the magnitude, that could sustainably support about $700 million of a bond issuance and the annual debt service associated with that. So certainly a sizable amount. In undergoing this exercise, there's several tools that was reviewed and looked at in the development of the report that was provided to City Council in the Friday packet and the development of the presentation here. Again, referencing back to the Blue Ribbon Task Force Committee, it was a sizable report with lots of good context. State reports were utilized, and I'll be referencing one of those in just a moment. Weld and Cooper survey information, as well as information provided by the real estate assessor and the Commissioner of Revenue through their annual reports or their information provided through previous analysis of taxes. So some terminology, anytime tax diversification is being discussed. For the City of Virginia Beach, we operate within the Commonwealth. And like all other localities within the Commonwealth, we operate within the structure and the rules put in place by the Constitution of Virginia and Virginia State Code. So we work within those limits, and we don't have a lot of discretion to work outside of those without explicit direction or approval and authorization by the Commonwealth. So that's something that's important to note. Also, something that's come up in recent years is a discussion of regressive and progressive taxes. So I thought I'd go ahead and just kind of mention that, as that's a lot of this discussion. So by the very nature of our local taxes that we're allowed to charge and implement, they're all regressive in nature. So an example of a non-regressive or a progressive tax is an income tax. So the state has an income tax. In terms of what that means is why it's considered progressive, is that the tax is applied based on a scale of individuals' ability or affordability and how much they can afford of that tax. Whereas a lot of our local taxes, as implemented, are a flat rate or flat fee applied to all that either are involved in the program, utilize the program, or if you're a property owner in Virginia Beach, the base tax rate of 97 cents per 100. So it's just important to note that they're all regressive in some extent. This table here reflects the typical format in which we provide a quick comparison annually as part of the operating budget with other Hampton Roads localities and how Virginia Beach tax rate in these categories compares to those. So this is the typical format, and this will be broken up as we do a one-by-one review of each of these revenue sources a little bit later in the presentation. But something that we did include as a part of this analysis and information we pulled is information that's included in the Virginia Auditor of Public Accounts report. So there's an annual comparison report of the taxes reported and revenues reported by each locality throughout the Commonwealth. So if I could just take a moment and familiarize City Council with this slide here in this table, because it's a new information that we're providing. So following the top row, say looking at real estate. So in Virginia Beach, per the report, it was reported $682 million was reported for the City of Virginia Beach in terms of real estate taxes. So what's that mean in terms of how much that is of our total locally generated tax revenue down there at the bottom, that 1.395 billion? Well, based on comparing those two numbers, real estate represented about 48.9% of our total local taxes generated. So then what we were able to do is provide that information for each of the tax categories as provided in the comparative report. Moving a little bit further right, that reflects the total city's reported amount for real estate as the comparative report indicated. So it's $3.7 billion. Comparing that to the total $8 billion of local tax revenue generated from each of the localities throughout the Commonwealth, real estate represented about 46% on average. So if you compare the percent columns all the way top to bottom, you'll find that Virginia Beach is roughly in line with where the remainder of the localities are throughout the Commonwealth. I don't find that to be a coincidence. As I stated at the beginning of the presentation, all localities are operating within the same allowable code and regulations as established by the state. So Virginia Beach's real estate's about 48.9%, and the remainder of the localities are roughly about 46%. So it's not only unique to Virginia Beach that we rely heavily on real estate, it's also prevalent throughout the Commonwealth. So looking a little bit deeper at real estate, so I tried providing this information in a similar format for each of these to allow a reference tool for guiding a conversation. So I'll spend a little bit more time working through each of these categories, and I'll move through the later slides a little bit quicker. So looking at real estate, the top category, top row, reflects the rate. So 97 cents per 100 assessed value is the budgeted rate. For FY25, that translates to about $763 million, excluding the town center TIF real estate portion of that. Each penny of the real estate tax rate generates about $7.8 million. And this next category, the timing of the tax. So this is a fiscal year tax with the bill due 2 times a year. So the first payment is due in December, and the second payment is due in the month of June. So the next one down, the payment method. So in terms of the real estate, typically as part of the conversation, a lot of individuals make the decision to escrow to pay their real estate tax. So they work it out with the bank, and as part of their monthly mortgage payment to the bank, they're also accumulating funds in an escrow account, and the bank remits that tax payment to the city. So majority of individuals do escrow. However, there are individuals who opt not to do that, and instead they make a decision to write a check directly to the city whenever the real estate taxes are due. The next category down, residence and business tax base. So where we were able to, we tried providing additional context to give a sense of who within the local community are contributing to this. What's the tax base? So for example, using the real estate assessor's report, you're able to find a breakdown of the residential and commercial properties, and then a further subset of those, meaning that 60% of the total tax base is paid for through residential property taxes, apartments 8%, townhomes 5.7%, ag, so forth and so on. And then the bottom row there, rate limit. So what we tried doing is where we were able to find a rate cap established by state code, an allowable maximum. If there were such one, then we would try to reflect it on there for context of the conversation. And when it comes to real estate, there's no set established tax rate limit per the state. And then the bottom row there is just how Virginia Beach's tax rate compares to the remainder of Hampton Roads localities.
Kevin, can you bring up, please, once again, bring up another point. How much of our even 97 cents has dedicated money for stormwater and other things?
Yes, that's the 4.1 cents, Mayor, and I'll get right there. So in the FY 24-25 operating budget, in the second table down, it says absorb the bond referendum, $567 million. Over in the right, in FY 24-25, that dedication amount for flood protection is about $32.3 million.
You know, I think that's very important because with the referendum, we had the option to increase the taxes, but we didn't. You know, we absorbed them. And I think that's a very important part going forward. Thank you. I just wanted to reemphasize.
Yes, sir.
So the next slide is meals tax. So the meals tax rate for the city of Virginia Beach is 5.5% of the sales price on prepared meals. Total revenue in the estimated revenue in FY25 operating budget is about $92 million. So breaking that down, each percentage of the meals tax rate is roughly about $16.7 million. So this is also a fiscal year tax. And this one, unlike the unlike the real estate tax that's paid directly to the city, this one's actually collected at the point of sale within the restaurant establishment or the business establishment and then remitted to the city on a monthly basis. So you can see that there in the timing of the tax as well as the payment of tax. In terms of resident and business tax base, so this is one where the impact on local residents is not really a fully true known, as we have a heavy influence of tourism within our local economy. But utilizing the State of Tourism report and the information provided in that, it's safe to roughly estimate that the split's about 40% of this source of revenues generated through tourist tax spending. The rate limit, currently there's no established rate limit established by state code or by the General Assembly, but it's my understanding that there has been a bill proposed that would look to establish a rate maximum that localities are able to implement. Currently, right now, as noted in the table below, Virginia Beach is the lowest in the region at 5.5%. Chesapeake's is the next lowest at 6%. They were tied with Virginia Beach until 2 or 3 years ago whenever they increased their rate by the 0.5%. Hotel tax, as we work through these will get progressively more complex, so I apologize in advance. The hotel tax rate for the city, the citywide tax rate is 8%, with the exception of Sandbridge, where there's an occupational tax of 9.5%. That additional 1.5% is a SSD dedication, and that's generated through the hotel tax. The city also has a $2 per night room tax. Total revenue for each of those is reflected in the next line, next category down, with the 8% citywide tax rate generating about $46.4 million. The Sandbridge additional 1.5%, roughly about $1.3 million, and the $2 per room night tax generating about $5.4 million. For context, each 1% and $1 of those, each 1% of the citywide tax rate generates about $5.8 million in hotel tax, and the $1 per room night about $2.7 million. Timing of the tax of this, similar to restaurants, is it's provided to the city and remitted to the city on a monthly basis, and it's collected by either the hotel business or the owner of the short-term rental home. It's remitted to the city monthly as a pass-through. The impact of this between residents and tourists is not really fully known, but considering the nature of this being hotel, it's assumed that majority of this is tourism spending. Currently, there is no state established tax rate limit on this, and you can see down at the bottom of the table, or bottom of the slide here, Virginia Beach is in line with the remainder of Hampton Roads localities with the established 8% rate.
Hey, Worth.
Thank you, Mayor Dyer. Mr. Shelley, you just mentioned that STRs do pay into this hotel tax?
Those that have been identified and registered, yes, and they are remitting it. Yes.
Calculation that we didn't necessarily take up at our last meeting, session. So they do, in addition to the fees, do add to the tax base.
Correct.
Thank you.
Admission tax. The city has a 10% admission tax and a 5% participatory tax. So the difference between those, if one were to go see a movie, for example, that 10% tax would apply to the ticket sale, or going to a concert at the amphitheater, 10%. 5% participatory would be should someone go to an activity that's participatory in nature, such as bowling. That's where the 5% tax rate would apply. Total budget revenue in FY 24-25 is about $9.2 million. Each percentage of the tax rate on the 10% generates about $923,000. This, like the other trustee taxes, hotel and meals tax, is remitted, collected monthly and remitted to the business, to the city the following month. Also, similar to the other slides, there's no known maximum rate that can be established per the state code. However, you can see on the bottom, Virginia Beach is in line with the remainder of Hampton Roads at 10%. Vehicle license tax. So the current rate charged right now for the city of Virginia Beach is roughly about $30 per vehicle registration. And it's a gradual incremental scale based on the weight of the vehicle or the number of axles of that vehicle. Total revenue in FY 24-25's operating budget is about $10.7 million. Each dollar of the vehicle registration fee generates about $358,000. So worth noting is that the timing of the tax gets into a little bit of this, but it's collected at the time when the vehicles are registered by the state through the DMV program. So when an individual for the city of Virginia Beach, it registers their vehicle, they pay this local vehicle registration, and the DMV then remits that back to the city once the $2 per processing fee for those vehicles is retained by the DMV. So something that is also interesting about this one is that vehicles can be registered based on a 1, 2, or a 3-year renewal period. So there's a little fluctuation in this to where, not everybody does this on a 1-year basis. Some do it on a 3. So you get a blend of this revenue. So it can go up and down over time, but it's, for the most part, fairly stable. In terms of the resident and business tax base breakdown, there's not really known on that. We don't have that level of detail on this information. And the rate limit that's established for this is the amount that is charged by the Commonwealth for the vehicle registration fee, and it cannot exceed that. BPOL, here we go with a little bit more complex local revenue sources. Business occupational license is the tax remitted by businesses, and it's really determined, the tax that they remit or pay is really determined by their gross receipts. So it's a tiered rate to determine whether they pay a flat fee or an amount based on their previous year's gross receipt sales. So you can see at the top, the city of Virginia Beach has a tiered approach where a flat fee is charged of $25 if an individual or a business for the previous year had less than $25,000 of gross receipt sales. Flat fee of $40 if a business had sales of between $25,000 and $100,000, $25,000 and $100,000, and a flat fee of $50 if the sales were between $100,000 and $200,000. For a business that remits or reports gross receipts higher than that, then there's a series of tax rates that are applied based on the business type. You can see that there in the next category down, contracting 16 cents per $100, retail 20 cents per 100, and so forth and so on. Total revenue, estimated revenue as part of the FY25 operating budget, $62.6 million, based on a rough estimate based on the 2023 information provided by the Commissioner of Revenue whenever analysis was being done last time to explore the increasing that minimum threshold. Reported number of licenses was about 34,363 licenses. Timing of the tax on this one's interesting in that it's a calendar year tax. The filing is due in January with the payment to be received to the city and paid by the business to the city in the month of March. And similar to real estate and personal property, this is one that's just directly paid to the city. So down at the bottom, this is one where we noted that the city council did establish a business license incentive program. It's a tax relief initiative in that individuals that either are new and established within the city don't remit BPOL taxes for 2 years. And then also more recently, City Council increased the threshold, the minimum threshold from $100,000 to $200,000 to determine whether they pay the flat annual license or a percentage of the sales. So setting that up for this slide here as the regional comparison. So you can see that Virginia Beach certainly has the most dynamic options in terms of the minimum amount to be paid for to obtain a business license within Hampton Roads with 3 categories. And looking at the threshold, Virginia Beach is in line with Chesapeake's that has a $200,000 minimum of gross receipts. Anything below that, Chesapeake's businesses also pay a flat fee of $50. And then the remainder of Hampton Roads locality are the maximum amount of the gross receipts thresholds, $100,000. Saving one of the best for last. Personal property, you've often heard me talk about how this is one of the most complicated, more complicated local revenue sources that we have. So the budgeted revenue for this is $206 million in the current year's operating budget. This is a calendar year tax, meaning that any rate adjustment put into place would go into effect the following January. It's important in terms of trying to estimate the impact of a rate adjustment in any of these categories. Several tax relief initiatives throughout the year through the establishment of lower tax rates for those programs and that tax relief category there. And currently there's no known state limit on local tax rate to be established for the personal property taxes. So I've often said that personal property is complex because there's multiple personal property types that make up that $206 million. So what this table here reflects are the multiple personal property types that each have different tax rates or vehicle or personal property counts as reported by the Commissioner of Revenue. So you can see working across the top, the vehicles and trailers, a total of 432,000 counts of those property types. Tax rate applied to those is $4 per 100 assessed. So the per penny equivalent to that category is roughly about $443,000 per penny. Do you just want to take a second and caveat these estimates as when we typically get personal property at the end, we don't have a track record of seeing the realized revenue for each of these categories. Personal property gets posted and reported in terms of a total actual amount. So other notable categories, business personal property also taxed at $4 per 100. Commercial vessels are taxed at $1.50 per 100 assessed, and the pleasure boat. So there's a difference between commercial vessels and pleasure boat or personal vessels. That the personal vessels are taxed at a millionth of a cent per 100 assessed, effectively resulting in not even a need to issue a tax bill for that. Machinery and tools tax is a millionth of a cent. Recreational vehicles, $1.50. So these are like RV vehicles, more sizable. Manufactured homes, mobile homes, trailer homes, those are taxed at the real estate tax rate at 97 cents per 100. And then I'm working down these because the computer equipment data, it has a separate tax category. However, there's not 432,000 of those personal property counts. That's a typo from on my part from the slide, so I apologize for that. In comparing how Virginia Beach compares with the remainder of Hampton Roads locality for those categories that could be broken out, you can see that it's the lowest for the vehicle base and business personal property base of the $4, and it's also the lowest in machinery and tools, as well as it's tied for the lowest for the personal property on pleasure boats. General sales tax. So it's a general sales tax rate that's applied, and it's applicable to all sales that occur on goods and within Hampton Roads, and that's 6%. So for context, so the breakdown of that, 4.3% of that is remitted and the state retains that. 1% is the local option sales tax that is then remitted back to the locality, and 0.7% is a regional sales tax that goes towards transportation initiatives and other state initiatives within the Hampton Roads region. Budgeted estimated revenue for this is about $93.3 million. Each percent, obviously, of the tax generates about that amount, $93.3 million, as all we retain is 1%. It's a fiscal year tax, and the mechanism of how this works is the tax is collected at the point of sale. The business then remits that information to the state the following month. The state recognizes that, realizes that, and then remits it to the city the following month. So this revenue, whenever we're looking at it being posted, It's on a 2-month lag. It's not possible to know what the breakdown is in terms of the information that comes back from the sales tax that's collected, as it comes back as just a monthly payment from the wire. This is an exercise we went through several years ago whenever the discussion was going around asking about the grocery tax. How could we break it out? How much would that impact the city of Virginia Beach? It's not really known, and the state even struggled in trying to determine what that fiscal impact would be because they don't know how much of that tax is from the amount of the statewide tax rate applied. The rate limit, it is capped, obviously. The city does not have discretion to itself to raise this tax rate without delegated or author state approval to do so. And cigarette tax, you might be wondering why is this one at the end? This one also is like the sales tax in the sense that the city no longer has the ability to raise its tax rate without state approval. Current rate in place is 75 cents basically per pack of 20 cigarettes. Total revenue in the operating budget is about 8.5 million, each penny generating 113,000. This too is a fiscal year tax. It's collected and remitted monthly and reported monthly. So the method at which this happens is the retailers, retail establishments that are going to be selling tobacco products, they go to the Commissioner of Revenue's office, they obtain a stamp. They then apply the tax that they paid for the stamp through the cost of the goods that they sell the individual. So it's a pass through to the customers. In terms of the split between residents and tourists, again, this is not a well-known number that's easy to calculate, as cigarette tax has been declining for the last several years. And as I noted before, in 2020, the state froze each locality's ability to increase this tax based on the tax rate that they had in place. So you can see the comparison down at the bottom. Virginia Beach has a tax rate of 75 cents in comparison with the remainder of the localities. Chesapeake's the only one that's lower. When they increased the meals tax rate a couple of years ago, they were also looking to increase this tax. However, they learned that the state froze their ability and they couldn't do so. So last category to talk about, fines, fees, and charges for service. So there's not a good breakdown of this, as this one is overly complex to try to provide all that information on one slide. Typically what occurs is charges and fees for programs and services are considered department-specific revenue. And it's done so we can align the revenues with the programs in which those departments deliver, as the intent is you charge a fee to offset the cost of a program to hopefully support that program. Much of the same conversation that was going on during the STR conversation just a little bit ago. So for example, permits and inspections, those reside within the planning department, waste collection fee within public works, and recreation center membership within the Department of Parks and Rec. Looking statewide, something that was interesting in looking at the comparative report is if you look at those categories of permits, fees, fines, and forfeitures and charges for service, Virginia Beach actually compared as terms of a percentage of the overall local revenue generated, Virginia Beach was lower than other localities throughout the Commonwealth, almost by half. So kind of in summary and for additional context, flexibility does exist. However, it's within the limits and the confines of what the state code and General Assembly allows. As I noted before, the Blue Ribbon Task Force identified several of the same findings and the same information as they were sorting through all these various revenue sources and the challenges and complexities that existed. So some of the recommendations that they provide is to look at aligning fees to be more business-like, covering the costs of the specific programs, thereby reducing the need for general government local tax revenue support. A bit more specifically, permits, inspections, parking tickets, recs fees, courts fees, etc. They also specifically noted some of the same conversations and looking at the tax categories of some of the existing tax rates that are below what's allowable or could be implemented compared to other surrounding localities that have a low tax rate. More specifically, they looked at and referenced the pleasure boat tax, a millionth of a cent, because that was the established tax back in 2002 or 3, just a few years before the Blue Ribbon Task Force was established. Also, the Blue Ribbon Task Force, they found that if there's a real need to diversify that or replace a significant portion of the real estate tax revenue, there would likely need to be a request of General Assembly assistance and action to be able to establish an alternative tax to avoid the degradation and negative impact in reducing city services with that revenue loss. So with that, I know it was a lot of information, but I wanted to provide as much background as I could to allow the conversation.
No, that was a great presentation. Stacy and Josh.
Thank you very much. It was very informative. Question is, this might be for the city attorney. Do we have the ability to tier our real estate tax?
In other words, do you have?
The first 500,000 will be taxed at this rate, the next?
I do not believe so.
I don't believe so either, council
Can we
member.
get a definitive answer?
I'm pretty confident the answer is no.
All right. And then, I guess this is probably more a question for the city assessor, but I'll ask it anyway. Property that's in the agriculture reserve program, is that taxed at the same rate, or is it assessed at the same value as the rest of the agricultural property?
I would need to speak with the real estate assessor in terms of the assessment process associated with the agricultural property. I know that it's a lower value in terms of the annual assessment compared to a residential home or commercial business, but I don't think that's necessarily attributable to the agricultural reserve program's existence or the removal of those development rights. However, I will pass that question along if you would like and try to get that information to you in the whole body in a future CCSR. Yes, sir.
Okay, Josh.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Kevin, thank you. This was fantastic. The memo was also great and provided a lot of really helpful details, and especially as a relatively new council member who's kind of sat around the table like the rest of us and struggled each year when we've got the budget in front of us and the prospects of, trying to provide some tax relief to residents and then kind of, and then defaulting to the real estate tax rate. And, a break in the rate is great. That rhyme? I guess it did. But it also I guess disproportionately in some ways benefits people who have more real estate, than others, and doesn't necessarily directly benefit people who rent. So providing this kind of conversation and these things for us to think about is helpful when we're trying to make things more fair for our residents. And I think that's really important. And also in the packet, I remember seeing a memo about a tiered structure for the stormwater ERU. And although that's different than what we're talking about right here, I think that kind of relates in a way because, for stormwater ERU, we're treating every single property the same, regardless of how much impervious surface there is on it. And I think we probably need to, I think we should look at that because I don't think it's fair. And it certainly is not reflective of people who try and do things to improve the permeability of their properties and do things that help benefit stormwater and things of that nature. So when I'm reading this and when I read it over the weekend, two items just are glaring at me, and I'm probably going to get some phone calls later from some boat owners, but the pleasure boats, a millionth of a cent, especially when compared to other localities. And I know boats float, so they move. So if, we tax them, maybe they go to Norfolk and they don't get taxed over there. So, and I'm sure there's probably some sort of yeah, there is probably a reason for that. So, but I think we got to be able to figure that out a little bit better because, we're able to, even though it's only 628, we can find the commercial vessel people. And there's a lot more pleasure boat owners. And maybe that's something like where we could have a tiered structure in terms of tonnage or size or whatever it is. And I'd love to know the history of this machinery and tools tax. And I'm guessing that, we don't want to discourage business activity by taxing what they have available to, or produce the widgets, right? But if we're looking again, by comparison, we're the only locality in Hampton Roads that doesn't charge anything for it. So I'm wondering what the history there is. I'd love to see what this Blue Ribbon Committee recommended, like if they have a report, and maybe we need to revisit some of this stuff.
I do have a copy of that report, yes, sir.
Okay, Worth.
Thank you, Mayor Dyer. Just real quickly, thank you for the presentation. And I'll put it in my file to be kept. And the additional conversation here, because it relates to our CIP retreat, is there are not all these taxes go to the general fund. Certain ones have dedications to our schools, Parks and Rec, open space, ARP, TIP fund. That's a conversation for another day. And the cigarette tax, I believe, funds all of the EDIP grants as well. So not all this goes to the general fund. It's split up as per previous council, which I support on that. But diversification, I thought also could mean of the real estate tax increasing the commercial part from 14%. That would help alleviate the reliance on residential. You all have heard me say that before, and some of you also agree with that, is the more we can have commercial real estate taxes increase, it relieves the burden. So I also believe that should be diversification. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else at this point? Amelia.
Well, I just wanted to mention, going back to the real estate, real property to do with some vehicles. We have like a couple of businesses that approach me, especially, for example, funeral homes, where a lot of them have these huge vehicles and feel they have to now park them or register them in another city, even though they service us, because they said the fees are so high. That's one area. If you have any comments on that, hopefully some of them are listening.
Councilmember Dr. Ross Hammond, vehicles will be interesting because that's the one that we're the lowest. So unless they're taking it outside the 7 cities, but that's one that we're the lowest in terms of personal property tax rate. So that's interesting that they make that.
I saw that they contacted me about that. With that area. And also, just for the general public, where we mentioned progressive tax versus regressive, and we are regressive. You mind taking a minute so they will understand the difference?
Yes. So, Councilmember, and it was just a bullet point on there, so I won't even go back to that slide. So, the progressive tax example that I had mentioned before would be the equivalent of an income tax, where the individual's reported income determines the percentage of tax that individual is to remit. The state has the income tax. Localities are not allowed to charge a income tax or so in terms of the regressive nature of all of our local taxes, the reason that they're regressive in nature is their one tax rate, as we were just talking about with the real estate, is applied to all residential and all commercial properties, regardless of an individual's income or that business's income or revenues from a previous year. It's established, the assessed value is established, and the tax rate's applied to that, and they all get the same tax rate.
Yeah, I thought that was great, for showing equality in that area. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else at this point? And let me just say, as we're now, the season is here. The budget season is upon us. And once again, I'm going to bring up the term confrontation with reality. And the reality is, as we said before, the cost of government has gone up significantly, out of our control. Kevin, you were here a little while ago saying that between 2018 and now, the cost of building materials went up 99%. Okay, when the price of gas goes up, when you've got thousands of vehicles and things of that nature, and keeping our salaries competitive. And then once again, finding that balance, that we have that quality of life that everybody in this city has and deserves. And as we go forward and we confront the future, and we talk about the billions and billions of dollars we're going to need in our aging infrastructure with stormwater and things of that nature. I agree with Worth, and Stacy and I have had numerous conversations. We got to create those new revenue streams. We got to bring the new businesses in, that we don't have now. I think we got subsea cables going to be coming, pretty near future, that really can spur, some economic growth. And I think that's the only way we're going to be able to do it. We can't keep on going to the well of the residential property taxes. But the same token, we have to keep, our roads and infrastructure up. Every city is confronting what we're confronting. There's not a city in this nation is not confronting. We have the low rate, but once again, all the homes prices everywhere are escalating. And, it's going to be a matter of setting priorities and, doing, what's necessary, and transparency with the public as to what we're doing. But I tell you what, all things considered, we're doing pretty well. But once again, just, keeping that quality of life and keeping us safe as we are, and, addressing the infrastructure needs. We have some challenges ahead of us. Kevin, thank you. It was very enlightening.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
So, Mr. Mayor, members of council, the next voice you'll hear will be Deputy Director Emily Archer. She'll give City Council an overview of the Atlantic Avenue project. And as a lot of folks know, this project was originally ideated as part of the RACEP and then came to fruition out of the ramp. And it's one of those projects, council, that would redefine Atlantic Avenue, but it's also facing some of the inflationary increases that we're seeing with the rest of our CIP projects. So this briefing will give City Council an update on where we are in the project, talk about where we are, what we're seeing from a cost standpoint, and then seek to get some guidance and direction in terms of next steps.
Okay, welcome.
Welcome. Thank you, Mayor, members of council. Emily Archer. As the manager just mentioned, we're here to provide a quick background and history about the project, review the status of it, where we're at today, schedules, budget, concepts, and then seek your direction on future of the project. Atlantic Avenue is the beach main street. It's a featured iconic street in our city and along the East Coast. Rich with tradition, history, nostalgia, provides the full resort experience, places to shop, stay, eat, and be entertained. It's host to thousands on foot, wheels, as well as parades, races, and cultural events annually, and it's where trends first emerge. We have our seasonal live on Atlantic performances down there, attracts thousands of tourists and guests, and then where trends such as small cells first appeared and the scooter invasion of 2018. It's also some of the highest assessed land in the city. On either side of that, it's about 1.8 billion of the city's assessed land, which is about 2% of the total. And it hasn't been static over the years. So it's one of the first postcards of Atlantic Avenue in Virginia Beach, circa the 1930s. In the 70s, it got rather congested, and there was calls for in the 80s for its first kind of revitalization, starting in 1982. There was a revitalization project in 1985, and the first phases of construction to the streetscape you see today started in 1989. Its age is starting to show. The Central Beach area where these photos are taken is approximately 34 years old. The street really requires a new level of investment to provide a better aesthetic impact and functionality for its users and our guests. So the modern day efforts to revitalize Atlantic Avenue began about 8 years ago. In 2017, grassroots advocacy for revitalization began with the Atlantic Avenue Association when they formed. And in 2018, we had our first kind of visioning workshops that happened, which led right into the update of the Resort Area Strategic Action Plan, or RACEAP, that the City Council adopted in 2020. That was Atlantic Avenue revitalization was one of the priorities coming out of that plan, and another one was to do a resort area mobility plan, or the RAMP, which began right after the adoption. And then 2023, that plan was adopted, included streetscape design guidelines that also came out that year for Atlantic Avenue. And then just this last year, our progressive design build contract was awarded to do the improvements on Atlantic Avenue. The picture on the right is the AV demonstration project that occurred to test out the typical section that was coming out of those plans to see how it would function in real time for a season. The scope for Atlantic Avenue was really defined in that resort area mobility plan. It was based on substantial community input and over multiple years. So in early 2021, there was a survey that had about 2,500 participants that ran, and it asked how the space along Atlantic Avenue should be prioritized, with 1 being the highest and 5 being the lowest. And expanded space for pedestrians was clearly the highest priority, and not only based on the survey, but input from the RAMP committee and public at large when we had public meetings, followed by dedicated space for cyclists and improved bicycle safety. So from 2018 onward, there's been temporary off-season parking that's occurred along the western curb of Atlantic Avenue. The decision to recommend the elimination or the ability for this to happen was carefully analyzed and considered when the recommendation for the ramp came out. Number one, based on the feedback that space for pedestrians should really be prioritized, but also because we did traffic, pedestrian, and bike counts on Atlantic Avenue in 2021 and recorded thousands on foot on Atlantic Avenue. On a July night around 17th Street, there was actually more pedestrians than there were cars on Atlantic Avenue. There was positive feedback we received on the AV demonstration project on post-survey results, as well as negative feedback received by first responders concerning the on-street parking on Atlantic Avenue that occurs in the off-season. Seasonal parking data about the seasonal off-street season parking showed that at 40% or the minority of the blocks experienced consistent use, and only about 55% of the respondents to that survey indicated they were even aware of the on-street parking in the off-season or rarely used it. So what is being proposed are 3 different segments for the redesign of Atlantic Avenue. This is representative of the central section between 17th and 25th. You can see there's enhanced sidewalk space, dedicated bike lanes, 2 lanes of travel, and accommodations for transit stops and loading zones mid-block. And then this is more of a motion 3D view of that section. You can see it kind of in real time, but you'll notice the fresh pavement, the bike lanes, how the trolley lanes do have stops that they can pull off in those loading zones. You'll notice this is based on the 30% design, so still some of the details are being worked out, but you'll notice much more areas for plantings, more soil suck technology under the pavement for them trees and canopy to grow bigger. You'll notice some bollards as not a permanent closure, but a temporary closure that would help facilitate those seasonal events when they do block off the streets. Still to be worked out some of the details of how they'd function, but then raised intersection as well to help traffic calming, pedestrian safety, as well as aesthetics. And then coming up with that consistent pattern. And that was the work that you're seeing of our Atlantic Avenue Design Build team. We have the contractor on board right now, Archer Western Construction, paired with our design engineer, Rinker Design. This is all run through Public Works. Shout out to our Public Works project manager, Dennis Ozawara, in the crowd, leading this effort, as well as our owner's representative in our department. As I mentioned, Atlantic Avenue is kind of divided into 3 segments. Segment 2 is what you just saw on Central Beach. The project goes from 5th to 40th Street. You can see how it's currently funded and phased coming in. It is TIP funded, Tourism Improvement Fund, for a total of $48.1 million. There is a growing balance to complete. One of the reasons we're here today. This budget came about in 2020 before there was any real concept design work or field investigations underway. Inflation and construction prices, as you know, have soared since then, and then the balance to complete is based on includes inflation in the future years when those segments are anticipated to occur. Because having the contractor on board right now, we have very clear estimates of what it's likely to cost. And we're only at 30% design, so there's some value engineering that can happen. So we do anticipate that could come down, not up. But the first segment, segment 2, between 17th and 24th, we can achieve with the funding that we have appropriated to date and coming in 2026. So we're on track for construction in the fall 2025 for that segment. You can kind of see the schedule on the right. We're at that 100% notice to proceed phase for the fall 2025 construction season. And then more value engineering, as I just mentioned, on the north and south segments. So another graphic depiction of this, but full rehabilitation of Atlantic Avenue can occur between 17th Street and 24th Street in that big red box. Likely also with the program funding, be able to at least repave Atlantic Avenue north of there from 24th to 40th Street to have a consistent within the curb section. And the sidewalks in that area are in better shape than really in the Central Beach as well. So we're really on a decision time needed in order to make the fall construction 2025. We really need to release engineers to make that time frame at this time. And we are proceeding with a public meeting to meet that schedule and our directive to get public input on our construction projects on Thursday, January 30th at the Convention Center. Just to view the concept designs to date, those cool videos, learn more about the project, and collect the public's feedback. There's a website and more information on that on the screen with the QR code. But today we really want to discuss with you proceeding with that first segment within the program funding, or seek additional value engineering options, pause until further action of your retreat coming up, or others directed. Thank you.
Okay, any questions at this point? Oh, Worth.
This is partly in District 6, but as Ms. Archer said, thank you for the presentation. This is really the main street. There are a lot of main streets in this great city, but this is a main street in our city, Atlantic Avenue, and this is really very, very important as you just presented to us. And there are a lot of folks that spend a lot of time on this project, the ramp project, as well as RACEAP, Resort Area Strategic Action Plan, and the Resort Area Mobility Plan. So, and there's some other considerations here, but I just have a quick question, and I want to continue on in my statement. But Ms. Archer, so this is just Central Beach is only 7 streets out of 40, and it would be $48 million, and then the balance to complete would be 60 for another 33 streets. So I'm follow what I just went through. It doesn't seem, I mean, it looks like a lot of money spent on 7 streets, and the balance is only 60 million for 33 streets. Follow what I'm saying? Are we sure about the 60 million? So if we did all of 40 streets of Atlantic Avenue, it would be $108 million.
That's what it's looking like at the 30% design level.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's what the designer and the contractor. So there's a contracted designer and then a contracted design builder that are married together as part of the design build project. And at 30% design, that's their professional opinion at this time.
Just want to make the point, and I trust that at the same point, it's only 7 out of 40 streets it's costing almost 50% of them.
I concur. I asked those questions as well, but it's what these folks get paid to do. It's hard to say 5 years from now, 6 years from now, we're going to be still saying the same thing. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So just to conclude my statement here, there's no question, and there's some other considerations at the oceanfront that we all are aware of. Parking, the need for more parking at all, 3 different areas of the oceanfront, especially in the Central Beach area, which needs a lot of attention at this point with Atlantic Park opening in May. So we should take this very seriously, not make a mistake. And I'm here to say that I think that I would like to certainly consider more value engineering options. Oh, can you go back to slides 5 and 6? Because a lot of the pain, if you will, or the bad impression is the utility markings on up and down the resort on our sidewalks. There it is right there, the red markings. And they really are very distracting, I mean, it's just terrible looking. And I know we're addressing that in the General Assembly perhaps, but anyhow, that's part of the problem. But I would, and by the way, we have Chuck Caton with the Resort Area Advisory Commission here with us, as well as some other RAC members. There are a lot of stakeholders, businesses, hotel owners, citizens that I believe we need to hear from on this. So I think we certainly ought to consider value engineering, but I'd like to hear from many before we take more steps at this point. I know we have to make a decision soon to get started, but I really don't want to make a mistake. Thank you.
Okay, Michael, Josh, and then Amelia.
Thank you, Mr. Remick, for bringing up the existing conditions of the paint. And I just want to take this opportunity to talk about this for a moment, because I think our legislation is stuck, installed in the General Assembly, and I think there's some discussion that we may be in conversation with the utility companies to have these things addressed. But the concern that I have, and it relates somewhat to this improvement proposal, is that the city of Virginia Beach spends millions and millions of dollars not only creating but also maintaining a streetscape. And even though it's certainly in need of improvement, even as it sits today, this is nothing. The pictures shown here are nothing. I've seen streetscapes that look like a Jackson Pollock painting. And that's exactly how I described it to the utility companies. And we just can't spend that kind of money. This is a very serious issue, and the utility companies need to take it seriously. So, that's one thing I'm curious about related to any improvement is the minute, some new streetscape is constructed, are the utility companies going to come in and turn it into another Jackson Pollock painting? And it's really frustrating, and I don't think they take it seriously. And I wonder if you have any other photos. There used to be a really bad area around the 31st Street Hilton. This is not good, but there's spaces that are really even worse. And so it's just hard for me to, I'm totally supportive of the concept of, it's obvious that Atlantic Avenue needs improvement. I think anyone who lives or visits Virginia Beach will agree with that. But I would just hate for all that to happen, and then we find ourselves right back with this. It's just something that has always bothered me. Anytime I walk down Atlantic Avenue, I notice it, I experience it, I'm distracted by it, I'm disappointed in it, and yet nobody seems to care, or no one, in the utility company world seems to care or take our concerns seriously. And I'm sure they're utilizing their vast and robust lobbying efforts to block the legislation, which I'm not saying I'm not saying that's the only solution, but they can't keep doing this to us.
Okay, Josh and Amelia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Archer, thanks for the presentation. I know this was a lot of work coming up to this point, and recognizing that, and yeah, I see the markings too, and I also see the vulgar T-shirts and stuff too, and that's something that is a different conversation for another day, but hopefully soon. This is obviously a lot, and this is not my area, not my council district, and I know there's probably more stakeholders than I can imagine that have kind of differences in how they view restrictions and changes in movements, the loss of on-street parking, and how that might impact their businesses and things of that that nature. So I get it. It's complicated. I think aesthetics-wise, it is extremely necessary. This is like our front porch, basically, beach, I guess, is our front porch. Maybe this is our side porch, but either way, this is what visitors come and see. And there's also hotels and access and parking lots and loading zones, and it's complicated. I'm wondering, I know part of this study involved looking at using side streets, the east-west streets that don't have delivery access and things that aren't complicated. If we're thinking about taking away parking, adding parking in those kinds of places, and maybe making for some of those, I guess, areas where people can congregate as well, and bumping out the sidewalk. Because I know part of what the pilot program did was made sure that Atlantic Avenue jogged a little bit to try and make it so it's not a straightaway raceway, and add a little bit of I guess dimension to the roadway and the traveling experience. But I'm just, as opposed to trying to force a lot of this on the business owners, that where it negatively impacts them and how they're currently situated. I'm wondering if we haven't already, or we could kind of take a bigger, broader look and say, okay, where would doing this kind of a thing make sense and not hurt folks right now? Where would these side street opportunities exist, and maybe can we create some of these spaces with outdoor dining and placemaking elements and things like that, but also identify places where it's ripe for redevelopment, and where redevelopment eventually occurs, have adding these elements in strategic places be a part of what the approval ends up being. So kind of map it out on a bigger, broader scale, maybe phase it so it's not, all of a sudden $50 million and we've got, another 60 to do plus. But maybe introduce this in areas where it's low impact, while at the same time planning for the future and redevelopment, and then also these side street parking opportunities. So that's kind of, hopefully you followed me on that.
Yes, thank you.
Amelia?
Thank you so much for the presentation. From the ramp plan, as I look back, where space for pedestrians are the highest, going for bicycles and so forth, and spaces for the cars are lower. I would like to find out, in this, especially some of the pictures, are you all still contemplating taking out trolleys?
So the trolleys can still run, they just don't have the dedicated lane for themselves. So they're mixed with traffic, right? So we did analyze the trolley stops as part of the ramp plan to see which ones were utilized. And we ran this demonstration project to see how they would run in mixed traffic for summer, right? So they didn't have their own lane. So we found that having their pulley drop-off zones separated helped with anticipated travel times, but also this isn't like a commuter route where travel times are really important to commuters. It's a leisure route. And then reducing some of the spaces that weren't as heavily used, because it'd be nicer to walk, and people were more willing to walk an extra block or two to get to their stop for the trolley, because right now they're every 2 blocks, I believe. So between eliminating some stops and still having their pull-offs, we felt that it was a good balance so they could still maintain times and be able to run in traffic.
Okay, and the second point was considering the smaller area for more money. Is it to do with location? Meaning, for the rest of it is costing, just like Councilman Remick mentioned. Is the cost to do with the location of that?
I think it's some of that. We can find out more information. Like, we can get that question and then get it to the design engineer and give you all a future update on why it's looking like it's going to cost more to do that one versus the rest of it. It could be the width of the sidewalk. It could be a myriad of different things. It could be that too as well.
The popularity of that area. And I would like to see another engineer's option as well.
Okay.
That'll be a totally different council member. That'll be We'd have to go through another procurement process to do that.
So we do have an independent ICE, an independent cost estimator on the project. So the design builder gives us one, and then go and get a separate independent decision. So we're verifying those costs as we go along.
So that's more cost effective? Is that more cost effective, the way you just mentioned?
Yeah, so like is what she's saying is that probably our owner's rep has another cost estimate that can give us like another cost refinement to make sure.
Something
Yeah.
like that.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, all right, anyone else? Well, I think Worth brought up another confrontation with reality.
I didn't bring
That, yeah.
I think he owned it.
Here we go again. You know, especially with need for garages and everything. Let me ask a simplistic, question here. Is there any type of, Band-Aid fix that some kind of surface that can be put down over the existing sidewalk? Right now, one of the things I noticed, you got different surfaces out there. Yeah. And, is there any type of, at least a cosmetic fix that at least put a Band-Aid on this thing?
That could be one of the value engineering options.
The paint,
right?
lots of it.
Yeah,
Lots
so
of
we
paint.
so we can bring back something for you all to consider. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that might be worth a look, because if you get a unified coating, from 5th to 40th, at least it looks the same cosmetically. And it shows the Atlantic Avenue Association folks that, we really want to be proactive about doing something ASAP. Just a thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay,
Thank
thank you. All right, thank you. All right, here we go. Okay, Mr. Dehaney, it's time.
All right. So, Mr. Mayor, at this time, staff is going to come and give you an update on where we are with something in the water. And it's not a substantial update. It's more or less just a progress update that we've been working together. But we're going to need a decision point from the City Council as it relates to how best to proceed in terms of next steps.
Okay, welcome, Amanda.
Good afternoon, Mayor Dyer, members of City Council, Manager Duhaney, and City Attorney Stiles. City staff remain in contact with the Something in the Water team and understand that they maintain positive momentum towards bringing the festival to fruition. They have also indicated that they are in active communication with event sponsors, but remain impacted by the disruption associated with the LA fires. We have not received any information regarding ticket sales or the release of a lineup from the festival organizers. In addition, there's been no official communication related to a definitive timeline to receive this information. We have not received official confirmation related to their contractors and support teams necessary to support an event of this magnitude. We are quickly approaching the 90-day window for the scheduled festival, and I stand ready to answer any questions you may have and receive direction and guidance from City Council.
Yeah, we have reached a decision point here. And right now I'm going to defer to the liaison, Amelia Ross Hammond.
And we thank you so much for the slow progress as I see it. We don't have any definitive answers. We don't have any contracts right now to look at. And as far as I'm concerned, we put out the welcome mat. We've done the grace. We've done the deference for a certain amount of time each week, and it's coming back the same old, same old. So really, I'm looking at calling this now. So my next step, which is to talk with, have our mayor make that final decision. And also, what to me is important is the festival maybe in the future, if we come back, we'll have an open formal communication in that way, but right now it is not happening. And the same thing for the fires and so forth is ongoing with no new updates. So I feel comfortable, and I thank all of you for doing the deference with me to give that little extra cushion. But obviously it has not made that big difference locally or at a national and international level. So if you remember, my deference said, first, updates from the staff. They've done their part, and I thank them. And at this point, if we did not get anything definitive, it is time to move forward and turn it over. Mayor, I'm calling it and putting it in your hands.
Thank you. I think, one of the things about government is that we are often compelled to play with the cards that are dealt to us. And, once again, something in the water, when we first had it, was a magical event and it was really positive. There's a lot of positive things about trying to get here. But, the thing is, a lot has changed from 2018 to now in a lot of ways. And, and once again, we received some criticism, for bending over backwards. But as I said before, we bend over backwards for a lot of people and organizations trying to get to yes. And, the fact is, we wanted to give it our full effort, for the restaurants, for the hotels, for the many, many people that wanted to come to this thing. College Beach Weekend is very important for us, especially, I think, it's a real launch, before Memorial Day into what's going on. But, there are facts that we have to take into consideration. And just this time last year, something in the water was in preparations for April. And then they requested a deferral to October. And then they had a last minute cancellation. We mutually agreed on a timeline that they would have certain information to us, date certain, by, December 31st. And, that did not happen. And, it's a tough decision. But once again, I think that we have to think as the manager articulated in his letter. I mean, this takes a lot of public safety, a lot of planning, a lot of initiatives. And so, the thing is, at this point, I'm going to make the recommendation that we enforce, that the contract is in breach and they have 5 days, for the cure. And if they are unable to comply with that, once again, this is another extension, that we, that we direct the manager to, with beach events and you go into a direction and do something. But let me say this about one thing. When we had a backfill last year, it wasn't near the success of an event that something in the water is. But one thing came really positive out this whole thing is that we were able to showcase, and it was reflected, in the media, a lot of our local talent. And the one thing, one of the reasons something in the water came about was a discussion that was having no national media about all the talent that we have in the 757. My friends, we have Grammy winners, we have artists, we have so many things, especially now with the culture generation that are here that have so many talents that I think that given the time that we're going to have, we can put on a magnificent event. But unfortunately, our backs are to the wall. We have a date certain that beach events needs to go. And, the thing is, so it's going to be my recommendation to the manager that we move forward and with the city attorney and to say that they are breach of the contract and, and impose the 5-day cure time.
Deputy city manager, and we're up and down communication. And if that is not solid for me, I'm a May person, very patient. But at this point, we have no other choice but to move to that second step. And I thank you for your recommendation.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, I think it's not of lack of effort on our part. Essential, these are communicate, as we really get into a robust, list of activities at the ocean front, we have to set a precedent that there has to be effective communication between, for going on for a lot of reasons. And, but once again, we live in very challenging financial times. The entertainment industry, I'm sure, is having, their share of unique circumstances. But I think at this point, I do believe that this is the appropriate action. Does anybody object to moving forward with the direction to the manager?
All right, so Mr. Mayor, next steps for us will be to send a 5-day notice to cure. And should they not be able to cure, staff would work with our contracted vendor, Beach Events, that's responsible for oceanfront entertainment, to put together a plan that we'll share with city council and the public. All right, so thank you.
Are we okay with that, folks? Michael?
I just want to make sure that I'm clear, and I think the public would like to be clear. What exactly is the cure?
Well, the cure would have to be acceptable to the city, so I'm not sure what the cure is, but basically.
Well, we need to know what the cure is today.
No,
But basically what they breached on, basically what they breached on was that they did not put tickets on sale within the time frame, nor did they release the lineup. So within the 5-day period, if they send something to the city that correlates with the terms of the conditions of the contract, that's something that the city's gonna have to determine if that's acceptable as it relates for us to be able to move forward and do it in a safe manner.
Appreciate that. And Mayor, I completely support your position. I just, I want to make sure we all have, in the public and something in the water team, have a sense of what is that cure? Because we keep extending and extending and extending, and I think this is putting public safety and also in concern. And I think it's also creating confusion in the public and even further potentially exacerbating tensions that exist around this. So I just want to make sure I understand what the cure is. Not we're making progress again.
So from what my understanding would be, it's a more nuanced conversation than just making progress. It'll be that they would have to demonstrate that they met the contractual requirement, which was what date you're going to put tickets on sale and then a sense of a lineup. But then also, to your point, we'd have to get a sense of who would be the logistics team and the safety team. Because as I mentioned previously, if those change, that's going to push us to a point where our public safety is going to have to reassess a group that we've never worked with and reassess plans and execute a plan that they haven't seen before. Those take a good amount of time, and with 90 days, we're of a concern that if the subcontractors and the consultants change, we may not be able to pull that off successfully and safely.
And that's why I want to make sure that we're all on the same page. And I think that as Mrs. Ross Hammond and Dr. Ross Hammond pointed out, we've given a lot of grace. That's because I know that the community recognizes the positive impact. But my concern is for public safety, and it's also around the respect for our staff. I really am sorry to see Ms. Jarrett stand up here and be in this position, and she deserves better than that. And that's why I want to make sure that we are very clear about what the cure will be, and that we're not in 5 days talking about, and we can't be in that position again. We can't put the public or our staff in that position again.
And Michael, I agree with you 100%. I think maybe the term is appropriate that we reached a point of diminishing returns right now, and our back is against the wall. And we're in a position, there is no other option, for Grace to do things for the exact same reason, that you did. And, there's the old saying, improvise, adapt, and overcome. But once again, we have an obligation to the public. We have a commitment for College Beach weekend that we're going to put on a very good production. And, any other further delay would jeopardize the success of, what we're trying to do. Okay.
Just to mention, a lot of you know me as a walk-or-talk person. So the last time we had the event, I bought my first Skechers, because going with Bill Kelly and that whole group, looking at how they had to build a road at the back, and even when low water disturbed it all night, they were there fixing another part. A lot of people just see what happens in the front, but it's a massive and well-coordinated. And we are a large city that tries to put out top quality. And this is at a point is putting us in areas we don't want to visit. And I feel night and day. I'm talking with Deputy Manager, what's going on, and she's being very transparent. And I told her, I said, if I'm hearing this today, I'm calling it. This is it. We love the entertainment, but we want you to love us back. giving us the right time and decisions.
I am really believe that we have the talent. We got Grammy winners here. I'm telling you, we got 757 is rich in talent. You know, this is something that we could leverage and, you know, really define ourselves. So, okay, thank you very much.
Thank
I know this has been a tough one for all.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, now, any other council initiatives or discussions? Michael?
Thank you, Mayor. I wanted to bring something up, and I share this with the manager briefly. But I did have a meeting today with some folks who brought to my attention, again, the fact that for our Virginia Beach Police Department, police officers travel to North Carolina to do range training and other aspects. The city of Virginia Beach pays a lease to that facility, and the police officers travel to North Carolina. There's fuel, wear and tear on the vehicles. And there may be an opportunity to bring a range facility that could support a future law enforcement training academy, as we've discussed, into the city. And I just wanted to initiate that process of exploring that as a possibility with the city manager and in this setting. And I'll provide additional details, Mr. Duhaney, but if you wouldn't mind just following up on that request, just for more information to explore the possibility, the feasibility, and the appropriateness of such a facility that we would control and have access for, not just for the city of Virginia Beach PD, the sheriff's office, but for our partner agencies.
Okay, Worth.
Well, can I ask a follow-up question for that? It's my understanding that there is a site selection team or group looking at potential sites for this later. That's not true?
I'm not aware of it, but Mr. Belushi mentioned that it's something to that effect, and you have as well. So I'll touch base with you all to find the right contacts and then figure it out from there.
And I think all of this is in the broader context of and we're seeing increasingly, throughout the country and the world, the importance of supporting a very robust public safety program so that citizens are protected, their lives, their safety are protected. Our current leader is, in an elementary school that's very old. I think it impacts recruiting. I think having our VB's finest traveling to North Carolina to train is less than ideal. And I want to make sure that I'm part of a team that's investing in the people who are willing to, risk their own safety to protect ours, make sure they have the tools and that they need and the compensation they deserve, and that they find enjoyment in their field, which is vital to our safety.
And, if I can just piggyback on Michael, very well stated. Kudos. I understand we had some of our public safety folks that were up at the inauguration. And I tell you what, we have our FEMA people, that go out and, wherever there's a natural disaster. And, if you take a look, I think our police deserve a type of training facility. And I'll tell you what, Hutch, I think the fire training situation that you have is a state of the art. That is one fine facility. So I think that's a great thing. Okay, does anybody else? Amelia?
Yes, I want to mention, as you all know, this was also Martin Luther King holiday. And during this time, we so generously were host for the Urban League Hampton Roads dinner. And they've done that the year before, and we were hosting again, which shows that our city believe in this opportunity, showing inclusiveness and so forth. And the mayor and I talked about this, that maybe since this keeps coming up, even though it's actually, the organization is located in Norfolk, our facilities at the convention center, and kudos to our convention center, they had 1,300
1,300 people attending.
102 there, and we're able to accommodate them. Our mayor was able to get up and do an opening presentation, that we may consider this as part of an annual, almost legacy. Of course, we'll ask the Urban League to send us the paperwork way ahead of time so that it can possibly go through our community, our CUB grant, not so close to time. This way we can address it, we can have an ad in the program, and, you know, be presented as we have been champions as hosts for this committee. I just wanted to throw that out to council members, because it's that last minute and we're doing so many other things. This way is ahead of time, and we're aware unless they change to another city. But right now, I don't think where they're located has that space. But what we can, so we can work together at an earlier, maybe springtime when we do our CUBs.
Yeah, and
On that note, I also had the pleasure of 5 high school students accompany myself and other people that were engaged in putting that organization on, the Urban League. And so you can see the future at the Virginia Convention Center. We are not just, hosting the Urban League. We are actually ushering in the future. And so I was grateful to have representatives from my district, right, in Salem High, and we also had some outside, maybe in your district. But the point is, they came with District 7. So I was grateful to see that we had high school students who were engaged and wanted to be involved. And so that's what I'm going to be bringing to District 7 as well as to this board.
Oh, thank you.
Last thing about the MLK, we had something with the Virginia African American Culture Center in partnership with the Zydus Theater, and that went very well. We had it virtual and in person, assuming we would have gotten to maybe 20 or 30. We had people from Westminster and Canterbury, from many other, over 150 that came to the Zydus, and it's the perfect theater for something like that. We had the Reddick Dance Company perform as well. So just showing that there's a lot of culture and diversity within our city that we can continue to capitalize on.
And thank you. And just one other point on this. I thought it was very important. I thank the other council members that attended. But when we were introduced by the MC, April Woolard from TV3, she introduced the Urban League and the city of Virginia Beach as the primary sponsors. And it was in front of 1,300 people. And I tell you what, I think it was a point of pride that we had that night. Hey, anybody else at this point? Just a reminder, Restaurant Week. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I want to piggyback on what Dr. Rosano said about these grants and sponsorships. I believe we have a committee that should be handling that. And I think we should more formalize the process of these types of sponsorships so that we don't have to make those decisions timing-wise, politically-wise. That, there should be a panel that makes those decisions where we're not involved.
And I agree with 100%, and I think that's what Amelia was exactly talking about. If we're going to have a legacy event, and I'll give you an example, we were the first city to really honor Juneteenth, back in the day when it, came out. And now it's kind of a little bit in the mix now, but once again, we got to vote on the appropriations. But, this really came up at a very last minute thing. And I did convey to Gil Bland, there's got to be a better way. But, Stacey, I agree 150% with you, and then we will do that. Michael?
Sorry, Mayor, I respectfully don't agree, and I'll share with you why, and respectfully to Mr. Cummings as well. There are times when partnerships emerge, where needs emerge, where constituencies that have not had a voice or at the table need a chance to participate. And so I do respect that there's a process. And I do respect that there's a committee, but historically that committee, and this isn't attributed to no particular people, it's missed people and leaves people out. And I'm not saying that it happens intentionally, but it does happen. And that's why we have been elected by the people of this great city to be their advocate inside this room and inside that chamber. And so I don't think that you take politics out of the process by putting it at arm's length. I think we do a disservice to the community when we don't. It's great to rely on that, but I just have to say, Mayor, you know, when you talked about agreeing 150%, there's another perspective here, which is that we have to serve all the people. We have to represent all the people. And people have been left out, I'm here to tell you, because I was one of them. And so I fundamentally disagree with the notion that it should be hands-off and a far-away committee makes these decisions, because we're most closely connected to the people because we serve them and we're elected by them. And I think we need to make sure we preserve that flexibility.
No, and I agree, but, you know, we can have the best of both worlds on this. I think any organization should feel comfortable, you know, with approaching us, you know, on a certain thing. But, you know, just handling things that get better. But once again, I think if we're known that we are open and adaptable and fungible, I think, you know, that's a sign of good, you know, city government too. But in terms of the Urban League, in terms with this, if we're going to have a quote legacy event, you know, then you know, at least we can do the, you know, the preparations. But I can tell you they, you know, this group also made some special public safety. You know, they had some CEOs and dignitaries there that they asked for, you know, enhanced police presence and everything. So these events take a lot of, you know, preparation on our people too. Hey, anybody else? Okay, the mention Restaurant Week. We got some great restaurants out there, and we got a bunch participating. You know, once again, something to be very proud of. Good stuff. All right, good discussions. All righty, Mr. Bellucci, you'd be so kind to do the agenda review.
It would be my honor, Mayor. Under ordinances and resolutions, I understand that there are no speakers signed up at this time. Would anyone like to have any of these ordinances pulled for review? So in that case,
are we okay with it?
All ordinances will be on the consent agenda.
Yep, no speakers? Okay.
And for planning, in the item of number 1, John Overstreet Family Properties, that's District 2, recommended for approval. I'm assuming that'll go on consent. Mrs. Henley isn't here. Item 2 is the City of Virginia Beach Development Authority and Atlantic Park, Inc., City of Virginia Beach Development Authority, and that's a recommendation for approval.
Consent agenda, please.
Item 3 is Dam Neck Associates, and that's, there's a request for deferral by the applicant for March 4th. Item 4 is FWM Residential Rental Properties, LLC, that's District 5. Okay for consent. Number 5 is Green Clean Holland, LLC, and ALP, and Alex Aslan, and they're requesting deferral to February 4th. Number 6 is Bianca Evans and Quan Lee and Ni Ho, District 7.
Yes, asking for that to be on the consent agenda.
Thank you. Item 7 is an ordinance to amend and reordain the airport noise attenuation and safety ordinance. Ray, amend Section 9 pertaining to the required disclosures in sales and rentals of real estate. Recommendation for approval from the Planning Commission. Okay for consent.
Okay, thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, at this point, the chair will entertain a motion to recess into a closed session pursuant to the exemptions from open meetings allowed by Section 2.2, 3711A Code of Virginia is amended for the following purposes. Publicly held property, discussion or consideration of acquisition of real property for public purpose or of the disposition of publicly held property with discussion in an open meeting would adversely affect the bargaining position or negotiating strategy of the public body pursuant to section 2.2, 3711A3, District 10. Public contract, discussion is the award of public contract involving the expenditure of public funds and discussions of the terms of scope of such contract where discussion in an open session would adversely affect the bargaining position or negotiation strategy of the public body pursuant to section 2.2, 3711A29, Project Finch, Pembroke Square, 8th Street Pipe, and personal matters, discussions, considerations, or interviews of prospective candidates for employment, assignment, appointment, promotion, performance, demotion, salaries, disciplining, or resignation of specific public officers, appointees, employees of any public body pursuant to section 2.2, 3711A1. That's council appointments, council boards, commissions, committees, authorities, agencies, and appointees. Do I have a motion? Okay.
Councilmember Berluci.
Aye.
Councilmember Cummings.
Aye.
Councilmember Absent. Councilmember Hutchinson.
Aye.
Councilmember Jackson Green.
Aye.
Councilmember Montana.
Aye.
Councilmember Absent. Councilmember Sullivan.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Wilson is absent. Mayor Dyer.
Aye.
8-0.
Okay, we're adjourned.